A Love Inspiration Guide, Essays to Meditate on Love, 1. Prologue to Love Essays. Love is great if you can find it with one person and stick with them for life. Some people do. There are pictures on the local news about couples married 50 years or longer. There will always be lean times in amongst the great times. It's like a circle. I wrote so much about it because I kept getting ideas and reinterpreting what I read and saw in the media, so one book on just love itself became 3. Somewhere along the way, you have to stop, think about your relationship and focus on being kind, loving and doing nice things for your lover, over and over again. The following is a summary of all the notes I put together over several years, ranging from my own ideas to what I gleaned from the media, ranging from the typical talk shows to bits from magazines, books, and websites to the many oodles of religious preachers out there ranting about God's plan of proper romantic love. Oftentimes I'd write out a few ideas from listening to a radio show, then write essays letting my idealism go free for a while. My attitude is that love is just like inspiration. It might be something inside of you in your soul, but it still has to be fed all the time. I do things to feed my inspiration all the time, like watch inspirational people on TV and read inspirational books. This book has a similar purpose except for love. Read any of these passages anytime for soppy, mushy inspiration about how to love your special person. You could make it an exercise to read one essay every day for a month, then do it again whenever you feel you need some inspiration to get that loving feeling back, because it will fade over time unless you're one of the very few with an overabundance of it. You could print all these essays, then read one over with your lover one night a week as a kind of shot of love inspiration to get your perspective on love back, because it will fade all the time if not constantly nourished, just like your natural spark for life if you just sit around eating peanuts watching sitcoms all the time. If you're really keen, you could get some software that converts text into voice, or read some of these essays into a tape machine to record them, then listen to them once a month or so. Thoughts of love fade. You have to keep getting it back. Look at this book as a summary of all the psychobabble and sagacious love wisdom in human history compressed down into these few pages. Whenever I saw one of those talk shows or a bit in a magazine, I took notes, capturing a tidbit of wisdom here and there, realizing there's a lot of redundancy but constantly adding to the mix simply because I wanted to get it all, what's current in the mind of the culture, which is pretty universal anyway, because it's really very simple. You have to consciously, actively love the one you're with in order to keep the fires of love burning brightly. I used to look at love wisdom kind of sarcastically because I've never needed a book. I always lived intuitively by what I felt within and got along just fine, but as I've gotten older, I've had moments when I saw my youthful ease fading away, so I've come to the conclusion that everybody needs inspiration now and then, because the edge fades over time if unused, which means that if you don't use the hot, passionate from the flames fire of youthful romance, by the time you're 35, it will be a long, distant memory, and something will be forever lost inside of you unless you take drastic measures to get some of that sweetness back. This is why the extra inspiration doesn't hurt, so here it is. If you can't get enough of this stuff, go to hashtag 306.7 or BF575 of any library where you will find at least a dozen or so of these type of books, also hashtag 155-158, hashtag 613.96 and hashtag 646.76-78 for a few others. Chapter 1. Love Essays. Healthy Love Insights. Make your life together exciting. Do fun things together. There was a TV series on the Lifetime network where couples at all different stages of marriage, from newlyweds to very old couples, simply talked about their marriage in a free flow for about 12 minutes each. The off-camera host prompted them with questions which were edited out, so all you saw was the couple sitting there together talking about their journey together. Here are some of the one-liner notes I took. The best indicator of love is that you intuitively know God wants us to move forward. He puts that feeling in you when you meet your future spouse. A healthy couple listens to each other. You celebrate the good times, enjoy the average times, and support each other in hard times. It's the warmth of friendship. We accept each other and accept what life gives us. A relationship grows when nurtured. People grow together. Intimacy is a bond of sharing life, heartfelt communication. It's honesty and being open to your partner. You forgive each other for human failings. Empathizing is feeling for your lover. There's a middle ground between getting too close and being distant and sulky. When they fight fair about the issue at hand. They don't take cheap personal shots. A good partner is thoughtful and serves his lover. Great lovers feed their spirits as individuals. Married people get lonely. You need a daily intimate connection. When your lover is tired, give them space. A great couple complements each other. Don't assume anything because no one can read minds. Talk to clarify things. Men have to talk because the woman wants to know what's on his mind. They have to talk about sex too. A great relationship is stable. There's no constant up and down drama depending on mood. Individuals have to be stable to be good lovers. Everybody gets tired and feels insecure. Don't lash out or get withdrawn when it happens. Life is a developing journey day by day. You are present and support each other as equals in love. Be respectful. Don't get too deep with psychobabble. Just do things together and laugh. If you marry, you should accept your spouse for who they are. Commitment is to be there no matter what. Honor all promises. He could never open up even when he wanted to. It seems like he had a wall around his heart. Our sex drives are variable. Sometimes we're both on, most of the time, one wants it but not the other. We fight when we both think we're right but we let it go by not taking it so hard, by being pleasant, fun, and loving even when we fight or shortly after it. Facing our problems together brought us closer. I love her so much that if I had to do it all over again, I would. I feel like us, not like me and him. We don't try to change each other. We've changed together. We like to be together and enjoy each other's company. When we're together, we have good conversations. Our love grows day by day. We share power. Nobody is the boss. We never cross the line of complete disrespect. We get mad at each other but show restraint in our criticism. We nurture each other. We don't bitch at each other. We were both insecure but made up for it with love. We talk and share. Actions speak louder than words. We tell each other we love each other. He listens to me. We forgive each other when we get upset and do things we regret later. It's not about what can you do for me, it's about what can I do for you. The most important thing is the relationship. He takes care of me. We didn't have a guidebook but love and kindness smoothed it all out. We started the marriage off trying to be nice to each other and kept on that way. We work together in business which keeps us close. Whenever I feel angry, I remember the book of Proverbs in the Bible and keep my mouth shut. He had his problems so I backed off and let him be. A good marriage takes work. Take time to connect. Have dates or getaways. Talk about what's important. Be playful together. We love our children and try to be good parents. Our love has many dimensions. I expected a lot, maybe too much. The marriage forces me to try to be a stellar human being. Love is a many-splendored thing. I was watching a show I just became aware on the Bravo network in 2018 called Married to Medicine about a bunch of black professional folks in Atlanta, Georgia experiencing and talking about their lives. Even though it's been 10 years or so since I created this book, nothing ever changes. People make the same mistakes over and over. Guys marry thinking it will solve their problems of loneliness and sex, but they're still jerking off and feeling alone. We were lied to about marriage bringing us happiness except for the rare couple. Most people are alone together. They had the fat psychiatrist sprawled out on the couch saying how the marriage doesn't satisfy him. What does he expect? He's a fat-ass bag of hot air pretending to be wise, saying he brings home the money, and the wife says it ain't all about the money. Many women marry precisely for financial security. How many guys want to give up their free time watching TV to be romantic? Almost no one. I read love ebooks now and then. I just read a Christian one where the guy says the most important gift you can give is time or focused attention. Love so much that you forget yourself at that moment. Think I want to be with you. Be full of love for others following the example of Jesus. The greatest gift you can give is your time. You cannot love without giving. The best time to love is now. Express love now. Love your neighbor as yourself. Galatians 5:14. Core values are honesty, integrity, generosity, kindness, patience, and courtesy. Tell the truth. Don't promise more than you can deliver. Keep the commitments you do make. Give as much as you can. Be gentle with other people. Keep your temper. Do not hurt feelings. Try to feel positive towards other people. Do you make your mate happy? Be attractive, flirt and bring gifts. Many people really want an emotional bond over just sexual attraction. Are you cool enough to have both? Sexual happiness. Emotional connection. Have sexual and romantic courage. The marriage can fall into dangerous territory ever so easily with just a few insensitive gestures. I took advantage of her love so she left me. I don't know why I picked him, but what's important is us right now. I still love her. Our shared memories keep us close. Being together is better than being alone. He makes me feel good every time I see him. I feel like we're two strangers in the same house. There is a peace between us. We lose each other, then we find each other again. We always fight about money. We both have bad habits. Live and let live. Raising our kids is our common ground. He helps me reach my personal goals. We are dedicated to each other's happiness. We are both free to live our own lives. It's a happy kind of happiness. We have joy. The problems tore us apart but brought us closer later. We're old but we love each other just like when we were young. We hug and kiss all the time. We never go to sleep angry at each other. It's all about understanding each other. I'm proud to be with her. We share our lives together. There is lust but there is also love. I scratch her back, she scratches mine. I'd rather be happy than right. The house looks great but we're always fighting. We make the time to be together. She is the most important thing to me. We are good friends. We honor each other by doing little things for each other every day. We feel like we think alike. We're still awkward with each other. The natural closeness is not there. I love you just the way you are. I feel like we live in a cocoon. Every day, we set the tone by either being nice, indifferent, or critical. We appreciate each other. We feel comfortable with each other. We changed each other for the better. We do spontaneous things for a dash of excitement in our lives. Love Essays 1. Live an exceptional love life beyond your wildest dreams. You can't change the past, but as a couple you can work together to better understand and change the issues you are facing now. Love is a balance of heart and brain. Acknowledge that you want these things in life and love. Romance. Passion. Healthy relationship. Intimacy. Harmony. Sensuality. Soul partnership. Happy direction. Genuine passion. Enthusiasm. Letting go of past hurts. No stress in the relationship. Love and intimacy at the core of the relationship. Living authentically. Deep connection. Integrated desires. Physical, sensual, emotional lust. Heart-centered. Intuition. Inner knowing. The man must show the woman he loves her. The woman must show the man she respects him. Make her feel pretty and special. Marriage is a way of life for most people. High divorce rates have not lowered people's desires to marry, over and over again if need be, in searching for true love. People want friendship, companionship, love, sex, and romance. The most salient qualities people say they look for in love are as follows. Mutual respect for each other's good and not so good points. the ability to give and receive love, the willingness to both apologize and forgive, the ability to deal with conflicts without alienating each other, the ability to talk and listen even during hard times when you don't feel like it, the ability to speak with love and give support, the ability to be friends. As a student of life, I've come to understand the complexity of the intimate connection. First off, both men and women alike are brought up to be embarrassed about emotions. If you get too close to somebody or show your heart too much, you feel embarrassed, so you back off into your shell. The other person, because of their insecurities, may feel embarrassed or simply uncomfortable to be this closely tied to another human being, so you put some space between the two of you, then try for intimacy again on a Saturday night. But the truth is, if not cultured, it will fade with everybody. The only real secret to a long-term relationship is to be so loving and so connected that you don't care about revealing your true feelings and showing your corny romantic notions, such that you can be yourself fully with your lover and she accepts and responds accordingly. Everybody real wants to be loved for exactly who they really are. Inspiration is the goal of life for enlightened people, to try to stay inspired, which is tough sometimes. Just like your battle is the battle to stay inspired, so too is it your spouse's battle, and it should be the battle for you two as a couple together, meaning that you should try to keep each other inspired by talking to each other, supporting each other, building each other up and loving each other. It's just like teammates on the same sports team, you have to talk each other up to keep each other inspired. Give those warm, loving smiles all the time. It should be a mutual admiration society. Tell them how great they are and show it. It's cooperation, not competition. Great lovers actively strive to bless their partners rather than criticize them or put them down. Great lovers are humble people who enjoy easy time together without ulterior motives. They let each other be themselves and help them become the individuals they really are without trying to mold them to suit their ends. True lovers are great friends. Love is like a circle. At one end is deep love, at the other is detachment. As you go round and round the circle game of life, you connect, you lose each other, then you connect again. Great lovers keep connecting with each other as they change and evolve over time. They must have some humility in order to stay together, plus they must know each other. Accept your mate for who they are and love them. Speak the truth if they're being slobs, but do it with gentleness. Forget the past. Focus only on the present. Release all bitterness. Give positive words and compliments all the time. Sail through difficult storms by being an anchor. Storms are tough. Many people fall to pieces in them. You gotta be tough for both of you. Give your mate the freedom to fail out there. Be supportive quietly. Let them feel that they're loved no matter what. You must spend quality time together where you're connecting as people, not just sitting there watching TV or eating. Tenderness, aka gentleness, is the only hard fast rule. Love your lover as you love yourself. Love is a strong devotion to someone. Emotions are too fleeting to be considered real. You have to bear down when the going gets tough, stick out the hard times, and believe that love will always win in the end. Love must be more substantial than just fleeting emotions. It must be a deep commitment. 1 Corinthians 13:8 in the Bible says love never fails. You have to believe it. After all the talk shows I've watched about couples in crisis, I've noticed one highlight that nobody else seems to notice or just glosses over, which is that of physical look, grooming, vitality, youthful spark. Most people in America over 35 are dumpy, yet their desire for a youthful, healthy sexual partner hasn't changed. I constantly see chubby girls who got fat raising kids and watching soap operas, and pale, nerdy husbands who destroyed themselves earning a living, yet they go on the talk shows and act like this is a non-issue, like the problem is neglect, indifference, or lack of communication, when I think it's more primal. Who wants to be with a dull, aging, sagging person who doesn't have the self-respect to take care of themselves nor the respect to still try to look good for their lovers? If you were young, youthful, and sexy, you wouldn't have these problems. You'd just have great sex and everything be fine, but you got dumpy and now you're whining and blaming it on some illusion when the real problem is that you're both repulsed by the physical look of each other. You simply don't turn each other on anymore. No matter how deep and psychobabbly you get, that's the bottom line, your physical attraction to your partner. If you let your looks and vitality go, how can you expect your partner to be attracted to you? I think the greatest rule is that people sense your reaction to them whenever you're around. They know if your face lights up, if you're happy to see them, to be with them, or conversely, if there's indifference or hate there. Words are almost meaningless. It's your general demeanor around people that counts. Your lover knows the truth by your mannerisms, not by your words, your gifts, or other trivialities. It all comes down to the feel of the vibe, ideally, a comfortable, silent feeling of love. People want to be liked and loved. If you show anyone you like them, they like you back. It's the golden rule of human nature. People like people who are like them. Men are meat and potatoes, pornography and sex. Women are beauty, deep emotional thoughts and a desire to be loved, which is why the twain rarely meets. Love to men is I love her, she's my sweetheart, I quietly do my job and provide for her, and they stop there, generally not fulfilling the woman's desire for emotional fulfillment and love. My personal version of romantic love is like this: I give 70% of my life to my battle to keep my soul strong and my mind free, with about 10% to love, tenderness and romance, and 20% to recreation, which is the way most men are. So girls should realize that a guy can love you fully in his soul but still only wants to be with you for a little while every day because he's got his own life to worry about. If you want to know why millions of preteen girls go crazy over cute-looking pop stars, it's because women have an overwhelming desire to be loved by a man, whereas men want sex but can get by without love. I read through a book of poetry written by a young girl, and the common thread throughout was her loneliness and her need to be loved and kissed by a man. Guys want adventure, conquest, and success when they grow up, women want love. There is one magazine for bridegrooms but hundreds for brides. Love is 10% for men, 100% for women. Never, ever forget that. You have to work around this truth if you want your love to survive. Try to think of your lover as the person he or she was as a girl or a boy, and treat them as this innocent kid. People are primal. They love themselves first and react to anybody who shows love to them. If the nerdiest person on the planet liked you and gave you compliments, you'd start to like them. People respond to how others make them feel. Make them feel great and you win. Everybody secretly sees themselves as the archetypal male or female, either strong, masculine, virile, and fascinating, or soft, mushy, beautiful and caring. Play up to these stereotypes. Act like your guy is this wonderful, great hunk of a man, and act like she's the prettiest, sweetest woman who ever walked the planet. See how easy it is. People are really very simple. It's all about compliments and acting like you like being with them. Men and women are really alike way down deep, but then culture steps in and tells women to be Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, pretty, vain and frivolous, and base all their self-worth on their ability to find a man, tame him and be with him. Men get a bit of that from the media, what with all the mushy love stories on TV, but more so they get the message to make it out in the world and be what society calls winners no matter what. Both entities are brainwashed by the greater culture. If you were to examine yourself honestly, you'd probably see something different from these entrenched stereotypes, namely a contradictory mishmash of emotions. Sometimes you want monogamous love, sometimes you're a sex addict. Sometimes you don't care about sex or love, you just want to be alone to do your own thing, but then you get lonely and find that you need somebody, at the very least, a pet to love and some sexual pleasure. So as such, there are no stereotypes, everybody's basically the same, and so it goes in a relationship. Just because you couple doesn't change the true basic you. Sometimes you still want to be alone, sometimes you want to masturbate, and most times, you will find that the idealistic, fantasy love life you imagined for yourself doesn't jive in real life, which is why any relationship with anybody else must be approached with kid gloves going in all the time. When your lover makes a mistake, ignore it. Keep your mouth shut. Don't belittle them with trivial things. Never demand anything. Do things for your partner to butter them to get what you want. It comes down to affection and respect. Help each other. Never assume anything. Everybody's got their little peculiarities. In order to live with someone, there's a learning curve. You might not get them or they might not get you right away. You must be patient, cool and give each other time. Never take liberties. Don't infringe on their freedom to be themselves and live their own lives. Always treat them as though they were strangers, meaning to always be courteous and pleasant. When in their presence, don't ever take anything for granted, like you own her now because you're married and she should like everything about you, even your smelly socks and your belching. You have to be nice to each other all the time, like the first day you met. Everybody wants to be loved and told that they're great, beautiful, and worth it. Whenever life gets stressful, get away into your own room or out of the house to clear the air of negative vibes and get a new perspective. Only then can your perspective change for you to realize that the trivial things aren't all that big a deal and your love should really be worth it enough to blow over all the minor stuff. Love essays 2. Commit your heart, mind, body, soul, and eyes to your wife. I don't really care about sex, I want physical affection. Married woman. Whereas in the past, couples stayed together out of economic necessity, survival, tradition, and religion, nowadays, men have to respect their women, be sensitive to love, give love, talk to their lovers, relate to them and share their lives together if they expect a modern liberated girl to return the favor. It's usually the little things that count, saying I care with action. Love is necessary but not to the point where you sacrifice your identity to be nice, because when you do, you lose yourself, thus your ability to be a great, selfless lover. The fast pace and superficial nature of life in the modern world has made heartwarming moments of love and tenderness far and few between and seem corny in the face of a trendy sitcom or a fast-paced violent action movie, because, in order to be cool and happening, you have to be a go-getter on the move, part of the forever young, soft drink coffee generation getting some action out of the deal as exemplified in the pop culture media realm, but most of us really want a slower paced tie of lifestyle with romance in it, even if we're too scared to admit it, even to ourselves. We have to try to create what we want in our lives. When it comes right down to it, being loving as opposed to being generically mundane is to do random acts of kindness to love your loved ones with a smile on your face all the time. The Buddhists say you can search the universe for somebody deserving of your love, but you won't find anybody more deserving than you. This is a fact of life. Self-love, aka self-centeredness, is a good thing because it's natural, you were born that way. You love your life so much that you want to love it more, relish in it and do the best things you can for yourself, so most people eventually come to the realization that if they share their lives with someone special, they will enhance their own experience and enjoyment of life that much more, so love yourself and find somebody to share your love of life with. Don't deny your love of self. Just look for somebody worthy to share it with and give them love. An old native chief said, you become what you dream. You become what you fill your head up with, what you meditate on, what you think about. Make it love, gentleness and kindness and you win. Resist the urge to either like or dislike someone when you meet them for the first time. Give them the benefit of being another soul looking for love and happiness and treat them that way. If you want to be healthier, stronger, and more loving, be loving, give more love all the time. Be in love with the idea of being loving. Be thankful for your life and pass it on. Do random acts of kindness. Tell people you think they're great. Friendly talk is a form of love. Touch people, show affection. Give something of yourself to everybody you meet, particularly your time, which is a high source of love, to simply spend time being with others in an easy breezy, supportive atmosphere. Don't close your heart to people and life just because you've been used and exploited. Everybody has. There's always good and bad in everyone's life. Open your heart. Invite the good in, let the goodness out. Share yourself. Be loving. Let go of the fear. The more you want to be loved, the more loving you should be. Focus on the few things you love more than anything else in the world. Love is helping others. People get better at life without being judgmental or critical about it and sincerely enjoying the process. We all seem to want a magical, lightning bolt love at first sight, divinely inspired love, but how do you keep it after you get it? Make love and happiness your top priority in life. Feel good by being loving and thankful for your life. Don't judge or criticize others. Try to be real. You can't really feel love by getting others to love you without giving anything back. You only feel love if you build yourself up with the power of love and give it away. The best religion is love, compassion, and sharing yourself with others. When you pass love on, others feel it, pass it on too, and the effect multiplies. Most people need somebody to talk to, a friend to lean on, to be there simply to understand and comfort them. In marriage, we often fall short of this type of friendship because of perceived minor transgressions against each other and our individual imperfections as people. Constant forgiveness of the minor things to strive for friendship is the clay that makes marriages last long. Choose love over being right. Happiness comes from being loving. You don't get it by striving for new consumer goods like the advertisers want you to do by making you feel insecure about your life. You get happiness by releasing both your inspired and loving energy out into the world. Instead of worrying about whether the relationship is good or bad, ask yourself, what can I do to make the relationship better? Love is helping someone be a more loving person and being freer than without your love to be a more complete person, more loving, creative, thankful, sharing, nurturing, etc. Love is someone knowing who you are and loving you for it or despite it. Everything comes from intent. Are you more loving with your life and with others than critical and insulting? What you feel in your heart is expressed on the outside and felt by the people around you, even if you try to hide your true soul. Instead of living by the darkness and crap of the world, the news, the cult of celebrity, which is demeaning to all people not in that exclusive club, the status-conscious, consumeristic culture, etc., get away from it to live your own life true to who you are inside. Put a few peace and love posters in your house, watch inspirational and religious TV, listen to religious radio, and simply think about peace and love rather than about the stock market or the latest news show on TV. Is the spirit of love inside of you more than the insecurity caused by advertisers who want you to be successful so you can buy more product, or the jealousy you feel when you see all the people on TV seeming to have a good, old, fun, frivolous time while you're struggling just to get by, or so it seems if you compare your material worth to theirs? Ultimately, beyond the basics, this stuff doesn't matter. It's the way you live day by day, how inspired and loving you are about releasing your natural energy all the time. This is the real key to being happy and attracting love in your life, not all the crap the world tries to fill you up with. Don't let work replace your need for love. Replace some of your work with energy to find your spiritual center so you can be more free and loving than you are now. Listen to your heart. Ultimately, it wants love, to be validated by someone as a worthy human being. It will help you be more loving. If you have ever been close to someone who died, there's nothing like death to help you realize you'd better do your loving now, because someday it will be too late. Society has done a good job helping divorce people from their souls, getting them hooked on imposters that aren't really that important. Self-love comes from self-respect cultured through action and self-contemplation, which makes you inspired and happy enough to love others. Don't focus on doing great things. Simply do the small things with great love. The more you love, the more loving you get, the better the world looks and the more it loves you back, but you have to be able to receive it gracefully. When somebody offers you love, don't run away or put them down in your twisted, insecure way of dealing with it. Face it, accept it, share your love with that lover. Often, we're too afraid to take the risk of being loving, open, and tender with anyone, even our spouses. One couple said the way they keep their love strong is that every day, no matter what, they get into the shower at about 6 o'clock before supper and wash each other. This little act reassures them all the time that they love each other. Love is spending time with people, sharing your lives with each other, trying to empathize, to see life from their POV and letting love in when it offers itself. Sharing is not following blindly, giving the other people all the power or letting them lead all the time. It's a mutual mix of give and take with a healthy dose of self-respect thrown in there. Balance your self-love with your love for others. Romantic moments don't last. The love often doesn't last either because we hate ourselves, we're critical of ourselves because we haven't achieved what we want in the outside world, and often we take this frustration out on the ones we love the most, our spouse and kids. The way to get over it is to constantly put yourself in your spouse's shoes. Be aware of what they're thinking about, be empathetic to it, relate to it, show you understand and sympathize. Get love by seeking it and providing a clear pathway for it to enter into you. Let the sunshine in and the darkness out. Listen, listen, listen. Replace anger with patience, silence, and understanding. Give love. Let the anger go. Love will conquer everything if you express it through tangible, passionate acts of giving and kindness. Love creates miracles if you let it in. Love is a great healer. Think of love as letting out the joy you feel onto others. You're helping others get whole. Balance out your love and nurturing of others with your love and nurturing of yourself. Live this out in a cyclical flow. It's great to give love to others, but if you don't give it to yourself, you will shrive up and wither away. Don't love people who don't love themselves. You're wasting your energy. Wait until they love themselves before you love them, if ever. Love Essays 3. True love is a life and death pact to the bitter end. Never try to change your spouse. Getting married is like buying a CD. You buy it for 1 or 2 songs. You have to accept the rest as is. Love accepts human weakness and the fallibility of the human condition. You know how frail you are sometimes in your own mind. True love has the power to overlook weakness and love a person enough to heal them and make them strong again. Let go of your unrealistic expectations and see the human being for who they are. I sometimes watch those wedding shows on TV and see how lovey-dovey and naive they all are on that special day and wonder how they will feel after a year of sleeping in the same bed together, working their asses off to pay bills and possibly having kids. Sometimes, in the newspaper on the announcements page, I will see a couple celebrating a wedding anniversary. They will often show a wedding picture and a picture of them now. If they looked young, vital, and thin in the wedding picture and now look chubby, tired and stressed out, I can rest assured that they ain't having great loving in their lives. Love is day-to-day mundanity, trying to create beauty out of that, realizing that reality is dirty clothes and those days when you feel blah, tired, bloated and want to be left alone, but your partner is still there, so you have to get past worrying about how he or she sees you and try to love each other in spite of the daily grind. I have days when I'm tired and don't wanna face anyone, but if you're married, there's nowhere to hide. You gotta face it, accept it, and live it out. Be gentle and loving all the time no matter what. Grace is to love your partner through thick and thin. Sometimes love softens the biggest, most insensitive jerks, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes love isn't enough. Love is great, but don't waste it on a poison person. You have to realize when you're with a loser and leave rather than trying to win him over by loving him unconditionally. Based on my own experiences of being out in the world, I've concluded that anyone can put on a nice face and that underneath, we live in a selfish, evil society. Some people are truly miserable and the only way they can make themselves feel better is to take it out on their partners and family. The biggest mistake most women make is that they stay with defective, negative guys. Some people can't respond to love, they need the distance so they behave badly, or sometimes people simply dig themselves in too deep and pass the unforgiving minute. In those cases, it's too late. Get out. Love is making the other person feel comfortable and loved. The two people must feel a deep sense of belonging, being loved, cared for and moved by each other with a validation of mattering as the only special, sacred soulmate on the planet. If the deep, intense passion isn't there, it ain't love. If you can't picture the two of you on a lazy, hazy day making love on a secluded beach, it ain't real love. Marry a decent, kind person who will love you and cherish you. Try to be best friends. Listening is more important than talking. Have fun. Do things together. Don't let the sex die out. Men want a girl who likes to get it and lets the guy know it. A guy wants to see the girl getting off while he's plunging it into her. You must feel as though if you weren't with this person, you'd feel miserable forever. Try to imagine your love as two candles coming together to light a bigger unity candle. This is what you're supposed to be, two souls in one, but society is geared for the individual, and most people, after they get married, still see themselves as me rather than we. This is probably the biggest mistake in the love game. You still think you're an individual when you should think like a couple, like a team. This individuality comes out more when you get into little disagreements. Instead of trying to work for the better of the both of you, you each go into your egotistical little individual shells and play a own-upmanship, tit-for-tat ego game with your love. Hence starts the breakup of most marriages. You gotta change that me mindset into a we mindset. If you don't, your individual differences will be magnified and escalate until such time as you start to see your lover as a liability, more negative points than good points. When this happens, it's treading on flimsy ground. You may withdraw and try to belittle each other, trying to put the other down as inferior to you somehow. Words are powerful. If you have nothing good to say, keep your mouth shut. Don't do something so bad that you cross the line of the unforgiving minute. Don't try to change your partner like nag your husband to put his seatbelt on. He's a big boy. Just let him be to make his own mistakes and learn about life in his own way. Love is supposed to be love, but negativity breeds more negativity. Once the seed is sown, it can flourish and poison the relationship very quickly. Try to be positive and honorable in your thoughts and actions about your spouse. Tell him or her verbally that you love them, that everything is all right, that life is great, the future will work out. People need reassurance, and more importantly, girls especially need to talk to someone to get things off their chest. Even if you don't really care what she says, listen to her flaky stories, nod approvingly and ask the occasional dumb question to act like you care. This is what girls really want, someone to listen and validate them. Continue to learn about each other. Help each other develop as individuals and as lovers. The secret to love is intention. Your true vibe is always reflected by your intention, what you feel inside. Be appreciative, show attention, affection, do small romantic things and have fun along the way. Love your spouse. Don't lie to them. Spend time with them. Sacrifice some career and recreation activities in the outside world to be with your family. Many problems start out because of time not spent with the spouse and because you don't do loving things for them. Most problems in relationships come from an ego game of trying to be right instead of striving for peace. Strive to love each other instead of own-upmanship. Try love over conquest. It always comes down to being a nice person and following the golden rule: treat your lover as you would want to be treated, sacredly as a divine gift to you. I say this more than a few times in this book, that every normally mentally healthy person sees themselves as the most special, beautiful, fantastic person on the planet. Your job if you love someone is to help them along with this delusion by making them feel special, making them think that you're special, and making the two of you as a couple feel special as a magical unit. You have to break past that barrier with someone where you're playing the usual get close then back off intimacy games to just say symbolically, here I am, I love you, I'm not afraid to be my corny self, and I will show you affection when and how I feel it and want you to do the same freely and uninhibited. Everybody has some reservations and fear about deep love because it means accountability, responsibility, and commitment. You have to get past it all. Just say screw it, I will offer my soul to you openly every day, do it and expect the same from you. We're all afraid of getting hurt and looking too corny nerdy if we open our sappy selves up too much, so most of us play it safe and operate at a pseudo-intimate, Superficial level. You have to take care of yourself, find your spiritual center, then know that reality is the daily mundane routine, so it's your job to bring razzle-dazzle into love, sex, and romance all the time. True love is slow to anger. If you get angry, your best bet is to leave for a while or write things out to expunge them rather than taking them out on your partner. As for sex, most is gone by the 5th year of marriage, but the way to keep it is to look at it as a continuing exploration of love beyond just getting the rocks off. Many women, once they become mothers, lose their sexuality. All people want to be adored. Do whatever you do out of love from your heart. Don't fake it. Most men will only give fractional effort to a love affair no matter how much they love you, because they're more concerned with making money and keeping their macho egos intact. Love Essays 4. True love is being true to yourself and true to your lover. Life and love are not something you manage and negotiate, they're something you live with a flow, something intuitively spiritual you live and feel and strive for the heights of intensity and passion as best as you can day by day. This is the problem with all that psychobabble self-help these days. They reduce life down into several dry, boring steps that you're supposed to follow, but life is really supposed to be an interesting, enjoyable journey, not some stupid formula of steps out of a book that never works, because that's not how life is lived nor how love happens or works. The entire psychobabble industry is of the stance that you have to show visible signs of love all the time and verbalize it, but I'm of the belief that true love doesn't need much talk, much deep discussion, because the players know they have that deep connection. It's implicitly there between them without constant visible little strokes just to stay on it. It's intuitive, deep, profound. True love is the joy of two people totally giving themselves to each other, each helping the other be themselves fully. The golden rule of life to me is to keep your spark of inspiration alive by staying close to your soul. Beyond soul, the only other thing that has any real value is strong love with a worthy soulmate equal, and just like soul, it's always a work in progress every single day. Carnal pursuits rate a close third. Regardless of how much love you have, life is largely a solitary process. You spend at least 90% of your time alone, stuck in your own thoughts. Of the other 10%, about 7% of the time is spent exchanging superficial, frivolous information with people, and if you're lucky, 3% of your day is filled with deep, emotional love, and this is as good as it gets. So to me, the base is my soul, because that's where I am 90+% of the time. Soul and love lived out with gusto, as close to purity as possible, away from all the illusions of the world, is the greatest life that anyone can live. No going in that love will not change your inner core very much. Don't go in with fantasy expectations. There will be an initial spray of fireworks which will begin hopefully with physical attraction, then give way to comfort with each other. If two people can be comfortable with each other, that's about as good as it gets. Most of the time you spend alone, when you're out in the world, when you're watching TV, reading the newspaper, on the computer, etc. If you can get just 20 minutes a day to connect with your lover on a real close, intimate level, you beat out 99% of the population in the love game. Most relationships are predictable, a gush of fireworks, high fantasy expectations which give way to fatigue, apathy and fat as people grow comfortable together with the daily grind of work, house matters, and kids. Generally, one or both try to impose control over the other, while one or both may give in to apathy, simply going through the motions and retreat into their own little world within the house and the family. This is reality. Don't necessarily expect explosions of change, but find a middle ground to live well together. Try to talk, work and live with the family together, share a few tidbits of your solitary life, and try to have sex and intimate touching. If you find yourself ignoring the other or hurting them either via neglecting the household duties or via snide remarks, you're in danger. The greatest enemy is the I don't care attitude. You have to show that you care and try not to alienate the other. Many spouses get lonely and further alienated. Try not to take out your frustrations on your lover. You have to deal with each other. Men generally don't need to talk much, women do, so let your wife talk to get it off her chest. Women are generally insecure because the media blasts beauty commercials and scantily clad starlets at us all the time, so you have to let her know you really love her for her. You can never take it for granted. Rather than telling someone how much you love them, show it with action. Never forget the inane holidays like Mother's or Father's Day. Be partners rather than antagonists. Personally, the things I hold high as important to keep a love strong are to take care of yourself enough to look good for your partner, to strive to have a great sex life, to love most when the love is weak, and not be a dudley boring person by living for the inspiration in your creative soul. Boredom has killed most relationships in human society. If you want true love, treat your partner like an unwritten book. Try to make every day exciting. Most couples together beyond a year are deathly bored of each other but stay together because they're too lazy to bother trying to find someone else. You must strive not to be dependent on your partner, rather, strive for a spiritual union where you love and heal each other with words and actions, and probably most importantly, you must not limit the other person in any way. Let them grow by themselves as they want and be there to help them along the way. Give her the freedom to be who she is. People change and grow at different speeds and intensities. Don't belittle the other. It really comes down to respect on a day-to-day basis. You can feel if it's there or not in your gut. Try to treat each other as the king and the queen of your lives. People only stay together in love as long as they grow together. They often stay together for other reasons like financial and emotional security, kids, reputation in the community, religious reasons, too lazy to change, etc. You must see each other as equals. You must be a cool, spiritually centered, happening person who lives for peace of mind and aesthetics and has some cash to spare. Then you gotta have it in you to give mightily of yourself to your loved one in order to make a go of it. Your time is her time. You can't just do what you want all the time, you have to share your time with her. Your time is the greatest gift you can give. Things will get rough, but if you truly love each other, you will ride it out. An older guy on the radio, one of the hosts of the popular radio show Focus on the Family, openly admitted that during his 30-plus year marriage there were times when he felt absolutely nothing for his wife, but because he came from a generation where they took the marital vow seriously, he stuck with her through thick and thin. In today's world, many people quickly bail if they feel that the passion is gone, but the beauty of life is that passion can always be rekindled if you take the action to go for it. He said there were moments of passion interspersed with times of mundanity, to times when he felt no love at all for his wife, but because he made the commitment with his vows, he stuck to it, riding out the tough times. Whenever he felt angry, he left. Whenever the passion died, he simply made dates for romance. All in all, he said that love is like the cycles of life, it's an endless cycle of up and down repeated over and over again. You should both be committed to open communication. If one of you is unhappy or irritated, tell your partner about it. The sooner you deal with the problem, the less time it has to fester into ugliness. Be sensitive without playing the blame game. Listen to each other all the time. Commit. Be flexible. Be willing to compromise. Love Essays 5. Love is a temporary insanity, curable by marriage. Ambrose Bierce. Perfection is not lovable. It is the clumsiness of a fault that makes a person lovable. Where you stumble and fall, there you find gold. Arabian Nights Folklore. Everybody's looking for a complicated secret of long-time love, but it's really very simple: love and respect over a lifetime. Love is a commitment to nourish, cherish, protect, and provide for your love in a willful way. Love her as you love yourself. That's the standard. Look into her eyes as though you really love her. The simplest test I have for love is I ask myself whether I genuinely want to make her happy without giving a damn about myself in the process. For the few times I've been in love in my life, this was probably the only way I knew. This and the simple fact that we'd gaze into each other's eyes for minutes at a time, seemingly mesmerized in some lovey-dovey fairy tale. I believe this can sustain you over a lifetime if you want it to, but in order to find love in the first place, you have to be emotionally ready for it. Develop your own identity first before you even think about marrying someone and starting a family, because if you're not centered within yourself, the marriage will probably end up on the rocks. I once saw an older couple being interviewed on TV together. I could tell immediately that they were in deep love because they sat right next to each other, bodies touching. They each looked like noble human beings in and of themselves with healthy bodies. They complemented each other, finished each other's thoughts, and simply had a sparkly look as a couple. They were happy being together by themselves. They were complete. You could tell they had a great life together. As Billy Joel's love classic says, "I love you just the way you are." They were also cool people with a twinkle in their eyes, with some spring in their steps. Just about every great lover is a great human being within themselves, taking care of themselves physically, creatively, and spiritually to be vital people and give off those happy, dynamic vibes. It's kinda like an easygoing free individual knowing what's real and living it to the hilt, not caring too much about all the crap in the world. In the end, all that matters is soul, love, a vital body, carnal pursuits, and a free mind. Strive to become an aesthetic, to live for beauty and share it greatly with one other special person. It's the only way to go if you really want to win the game of life. And don't hold back. If you feel passion, go for it. If you're mad at her, don't let it fester inside, talk to her about it. I realize that life is tough and it's often a matter of working to get money to cover your bills, but somehow you gotta get past all that to realize what really matters. Simply be totally, purely committed to her happiness and make the both of you feel like a super special couple all the time. Be friends as you would be with your best bud, but keep the romantic sanctity in there too. The biggest destroyer of all relationships is the deterioration of the friendship as life goes on. Many men are chauvinistic pigs without realizing it. It's bred into us via the culture, so we trivialize women. You have to see her as a worthy equal, talk to her about her and take her advice about your lives as a couple. A man emotionally receptive to his wife is a guy who gets what he wants from her because she loves him freely. A man who brings home the bacon then sits around watching TV without helping out with the kids and with the housework generally alienates his wife very quickly. The divorce rate in America is nearly 60% for precisely the reason, in my opinion, that most guys care only about their work and their hobbies and accept their wives as givens, prizes already won, hence a sideshow to their lives. I believe you can only go so far as an individual, then you want somebody magical and mystical who completes the missing piece of the puzzle and brings you to higher heights of happiness. Love to me is worship of a girl because I know she has the most beautiful, radiant soul in the world as well as outer beauty. This is how you should feel about your love. Man was not meant to be alone, nor does he want to be alone, so you must embrace a lady of your choosing who also likes you so much that she knows you're for real and gives you everything back. If you give most ladies just a bit of love, they will give it back 10 times over. That's the way they are. Can you be corny romantic? Can you sit there and spend boring nights cuddled up with her watching corny movies because that's where you wanna be, with her, in love with her? You have to spend time alone together and talk about meaningful things, then be romantic outside the bedroom. Amidst the mundanity of day-to-day life, keep the channels open all the time. Don't alienate yourself in your little shell. Talk about things that matter, then listen. Seek to understand and compromise. Tell her she's great and that you love her all the time. Share your feelings and weaknesses with her. Treat the relationship as special and private. Don't be a mind reader and don't assume. Talk it out. Sensitivity to the other is the #1 factor for all long-time couples. Solve conflicts by being gentle. Learn to forgive and forget. A great lover sees himself as a channel of love with all the love in the world flowing out of him. He sees his love as the most sacred thing on the planet. True love is almost unconditional. You love no matter what, no ifs, ands or buts. If your lover sins deeply, a true lover would still take them back, but at some point, it has to become a two-way street. True lovers long to be together and love being together, sitting around doing nothing in particular, just enjoying each other's company. When a former friend of mine got deeply into heroin, I stuck with her because I knew that underneath it all, she was still a high-quality person with a beautiful soul who was worth it. We all get lost sometimes, and every one of us needs a kick in the butt to jumpstart us. A good attitude comes from a song I once heard: I don't care who you are, what you've done, where you've been, as long as you love me. All that matters is the current moment. Drop the past and deal with your love as he or she is at any given moment in time. Ultimately, if somebody can't help themselves, you have to drop them for your own peace of mind, but until that time, go all out to help them with whatever problems they're going through. If they're trying, fine, but if they're their own worst enemies, don't destroy yourself trying to save them. Express your gratitude to your spouse. Be quick to forgive. Slow down in matters of life. Try to culture a strong family with good values for your kids. Develop financial and spiritual rules and traditions. Get away by yourself for a while. Try to be peaceful with your spouse's friends and relatives. People get depressed and down. When one is tired, the other must take up the slack. When one is discouraged, the other must be the rock and encourage her lover. If you get bored, it's your fault. Do something about it. Make the home a comfortable, sacred, peaceful place. Love your wife more than your work. Focus on what your partner wants. Simply respect your spouse and love your children. Stick it out no matter what. Work on your problems. Show your love to your spouse. Troubles are inevitable. Show grace in dealing with them. Try to commune with nature together in order to connect. Get beyond the fairy tale to try for real connected moments, because that's all you really get in life, just a few beautiful memories and time to keep reinventing yourself. Try some things for variety's sake. Try to live to love each other in sickness and health, for better or worse. Overcome your own selfishness to love your wife. Control your lust. Love is loving the person, not lusting for body parts. Be thankful for the love he or she gives you. Marriage will not necessarily ensure happiness. You have to work at it. Show common decency. Stay balanced as people. Don't let yourself get brainwashed by the mass media. On days when you feel cold, bite your tongue to stop yourself from doing something nasty or leave for a while. Even the lovingest people on the planet have days when they don't like the world so much, and on such days, the easiest thing to snap at is the closest thing which probably won't snap back, which is your lover. So love your love when you feel good, leave for a while when you feel bad. Stress takes its cut out of everyone. Money problems kill. No matter what, don't become a slave to money over love. True lovers see beyond the fantasy and live realistically on a day-to-day basis. Honor each other's individual goals and develop a sense of shared usness as a couple. Truly happy couples know each other, know what makes the other tick, when he's up or down, happy, sad, etc. The easy earmarks of destruction are neglect, inattention, trivialization, criticism, contempt, mockery, defensiveness, nagging about money or the kids, countering irrational complaint with bitterness, ignoring, and once the silent treatment hits, it's over. If you feel the emotional connection slip away, watch it. As I've noticed with my own life and that of others I've observed, even if you're married to the most wonderful creature on the planet, unless you both strive to be interesting, dynamic creatures in and of yourselves and strive to reinvent or at least rediscover and renew yourselves with each other all the time by being fantastic, upbeat individuals doing things together, the love will fade. I've found that love works like life. The trick is to renew yourself almost every day. You only get out of it what you put into it. You must have endless desire for your love. This is accomplished by looks of love, words of love, physical acts of love like kissing and stroking, listening, understanding and being involved in her life, and of course, having a desirable healthy-looking body. Love her specialness as a human being, hold her in high regard, spend easy time laughing and playing with her. The best lovers help their partners grow to become better people. You're a light to her and she sends the light back to you. Love Essays 6. Treat me the way you treat yourself. Love is two people with unrealistic expectations living in delusions. Somebody on TV did an analogy of love with the four seasons. Winter is the time of solitude, a search within to develop your soul to prepare for springtime, which opens up the floodgates for the birth of love, which flows easily through the summer. Then fall signifies the change into a cooling off period as we head into the hibernation and solitude of winter to renew ourselves to prepare for a new love fest in the spring. The biggest, rock bottom, real deal secret is simply that you have to love her as though she's an angelic being, as though you'd selflessly try to make your partner happy without regard for what effort it might take. All people want one thing out of life: to be valued. Treat him or her as number one and they will be number one for you. We all want understanding, to be understood for who we are, and then there's fear of rejection. For example, many couples, though married, will not initiate with a corny romantic notion because they fear rejection by their partner. Doing little things always mean a lot. When you stop doing them, it dies. Hug her, kiss her, love her, talk to her, buy her a cake, a cookie, take her out to some silly show. Just show her you care and you're thinking about her. A man needs attention too, but wants peace for a while when he comes home from work. Write love letters, talk on the phone. It's teamwork. Everybody wants to be cherished and to belong to somebody. The question is, what would you do for the love of your life? Is that the person you're with now? Would you do anything for them? Unless you answer yes, it's not total love. You love her for her, not just because she's got beautiful hair, cooks well or dresses nice, nor do you dislike her if she's nasty today on PMS, bought the wrong type of coffee or spent too much money. You love her anyway because of her soul. You know she's beautiful, she's worth it, and she has the innocent, beautiful soul of 1,000 fair maidens, and that's all you care about, and that's all that matters over a lifetime. Women are smart. They don't need your patronizing advice, but they need your affirmations. Look her in the eyes and tell her that she's the most beautiful lady on the planet. She wants to know that you know how beautiful she is as a person, so tell her. Women in long-term relationships are more practical than the men, having evolved to accept their husband's warts and all, but men are more dreamy. They see this woman as the missing piece to their puzzle, the girl of their dreams, their soulmates. Good men adore their women, idealize them, put them on a pedestal, show it, and the women know it. Things as simple as longing looks of love will do it every time. These guys praise their wives on an active and regular basis, telling them how much they love them. Respect comes down to shared values, a shared view of life. Good couples are excited by each other physically, sexually, intellectually, and philosophically. There's a sense of trust there, kind of like we're here for each other. No matter what happens, I'm here for you, you're here for me. They have a joint responsibility for their future together. They live in a comfortable environment together. They know how to compromise and disagree without arguing. They can talk things out and come to new and better insights about the relationship. They're equal and equitable. There's no power struggle, no excessive dependencies, and a good sex life. These people have fun together, enjoy silly, affectionate moments together, and de-escalate potentially serious things with a joke or simply a loving look. There's a feeling of teamwork, of we-ness, the two of them together. They feel lucky that they've been blessed with such a nice partner. For the men, there may be a period of growth where they have to learn to get past their egos and the power trips to grow up and offer unconditional affection to their wives. This only happens after the warrior phase of youth is gone. It usually only happens after 40 because men have to get the angst out of their systems first in order to become truly great lovers. Many men seem to think that the wife becomes part of them and seek to control her in some way. You must let her be an independent person and don't criticize whatever she chooses to do as long as it's moral. If she wants to work or go to school, don't get jealous, think she might meet someone better than you, then make up all kinds of phony excuses why she shouldn't work. Let her pursue her life freely. If she truly loves you, she will always come back. This works for women on men too. I remember one time my brother came to my place and a few us were drinking. He then left to go somewhere. His wife came up looking for him. I said he wasn't there, but she went through the whole house, even the basement, looking for him. That was a bit too extreme. They've since divorced. People resent unsolicited advice and attempts to change them. Do it subtly if at all. Control yourself over trying to control anyone else. It's a big killer of a lot of relationships. Don't try to control your lover. Let them live freely. If they truly love you, they stay with you by choice. Everybody's an emotional sap and wants to be recognized on their birthday, anniversary, and Valentine's Day. Love your partner and give of yourself. Although I have the rule about physical vitality, I can let most other things slide because they really don't matter all that much. You must learn not to judge. See her as she really is and love the real her. Make her feel good by saying nice things to her. Accommodate her weaknesses by ignoring them or helping her out if she wants your help. Love quietly and ride out the tough times. Don't get too deep. Just let her be herself. Life is all about peace. Live in peace with your wife. Diffuse all anger with quiet trust. To find a soulmate and culture him or her, you must love the soul of a person. Be harmonious and peaceful within yourself. Act with personal integrity. Nurture your love and put it as the highest priority. Subordinate your ego and spiritually try to please her. Be kind and gentle. Be aware of her moods all the time and react accordingly. Love her most when she's being the worst. Cooperation is the foundation of teamwork and we-ness. Sometimes you have to compromise to coexist peacefully. It's best to surrender your ego self and love her, forgiving all her minor transgressions if she really has a good heart. Be honest with your lover. True lovers bring out the best in each other. Pure love is selfless service to your love object. Great lovers are people with strong senses of inner identities and strong respect for each other's identities. Everybody wants to be loved for exactly who they are. Live as good friends during the routine, day-to-day times, but break it up with short periods of high-intensity love and passion. Capitalize on the aphrodisiac, freeing and romantic effects that being out in nature do for passion at all times, even at night under a starry sky with a fire burning. You have to be a good friend and a lover. By good friends, I mean talk. Do you know your partner's favorite TV shows, favorite hobbies, favorite music, friends' names, favorite food, long-term dreams, weaknesses, stresses, etc.? This is what makes love last on a day-to-day basis. You have to be interested in each other and know each other internally. A relationship is a commodity like an investment. You have to put your resources into it, then keep up on it with research all the time. The power of companionship cuts both ways. You have to play the fine line of close friendship with time alone. It's a delicate balance such that you maximize both so that you don't get on each other's nerves. Many couples live in a superficial realm of silently morbidity, pretending that all is all right when they really can't stand each other. You must get everything out in the open and deal with it, especially all the problems between the two of you. You must get out of your selfish mode to open up and love her all the time without fear of feeling that you're being nerdy. Fear is a big killer. Let go of all fear and be a great lover. Holding back leads to distrust and withdrawal. Unconditional trust is the highest bond to shoot for. If there are hard times, solve them gently and heal together. Many women fear abandonment, especially as they get older, because they lose their youthful beauty. You have to reassure her all the time. I knew one couple where I'd be sitting in the living room with my buddy and his wife would call him from somewhere, and even though he could hear, he always ignored her. It's the little things like this that kill relationships. People get on each other's nerves, often on purpose to get back at them for perceived indiscretions on the other person's part. Another one is making a sandwich and leaving everything out and dirty to get back at the wife. Women want clean bathrooms. Try to get separate bathrooms if you can afford it. Get a half bathroom installed in the basement for you with a sink, toilet, and shower. Use it and never enter the other one. You can leave all your smelly clothes down there too. Women don't appreciate a man's dirt in the bathroom. I'm a careless slob and do things that no girl would appreciate because I'm so apathetic about home cleanliness anyway. I leave the sink dirty, I leave the dirty razor laying around, etc. Separate bathrooms is the solution. You have to talk more before you let the little things destroy the relationship. The other one is fatigue. After the daily grind, most people just don't bother much with romance or even sex. True love is simply spiritual, soulful love. You love that person, enjoy her company, enjoy looking into her eyes, enjoying being with her, and you enjoy it 25 years after you met her. Of course, she has to do her part. As an observer of life, I'd say that under 10% of all couples I ever see anywhere have this magic. A lot of people delude themselves into thinking they have great loving relationships, but they're really lukewarm, convenience type things. Nobody can really change anybody, but the secret is teachability via tact and finesse. What this means is that the man can subordinate his ego enough to listen to his girl and learn from her to change to become a better person for the marriage. If she tells you got smelly feet, don't try to spite her and leave your smelly socks around. Start washing your feet when you get home from work. That's it in a nutshell. The secrets really are very simple. Most of us know what they are, it's just a matter of doing them for real. Love is an opportunity for people to grow together and not to limit each other in any way. See true love as the fullest expression of God's handiwork. Give and commit. Although similar ties bring people together, you must each be different enough to constantly bring spice into the relationship. Love Essay 7. It's easy to fall in love, it's easy to fall out of love. The hardest thing is to stay in love. The wedding is the event, the marriage is the journey. Fat woman on talk show. I saw an 800-pound guy on TV spill his guts out. He said the same things that we all feel, how he wanted to be normal and find somebody that he could love and cherish. The secret is very simple: make yourself a prize by being nice, clean, and financially stable. Find a worthy person, then spend the rest of your life making all your love fantasies in your mind come true. Most men are trained to be emotionally self-sufficient, hence nearly all men rely on themselves for inner comfort and keep it all in without revealing themselves to their girls. Instead of keeping it all in, show your fondness for your wife and turn to her both in good times and in bad to share the joys and be comforted during the crises. If you have problems, solve them gently. Clear the air of all tension immediately. Either talk or put a magnetic clipboard on the fridge where you can each write down your thoughts where the other will see them. In order to counteract alienation, you must show love for each other day by day by day. Too many people have kids and go to work, then go on and live separate lives. Everybody wants to belong and be cherished. If you can cherish your wife and make her feel special every day, you win. Every day, do small acts of love and kindness to show that you care. Good acts are a kiss from the soul. It's all about reaching out and caring to be a good, beautiful person. Too many women and men alike let themselves go physically, then the other doesn't desire them anymore. I see this with fat, frumpy wives and guys who come home from work and stay smelly and sweaty right up until they go to bed. Take a shower, then ask her if she wants to get frisky. I go to the supermarket and what I generally see are unattractive, frumpy women. I look around at guys and just about everyone over 35 has gotten a midriff and is starting to look middle-aged, generic, dumpy. You don't have to let yourself go as you age. Just take care of yourself via diet and exercise. Great love can only come from two vital bodies connecting with each other. Two dumpy bodies get soppy, oatmeal love, what they deserve because they let themselves go. Be attractive for your spouse. Many couples rarely touch except for the sex act, and even that's fleeting. Every great couple touches throughout the day. It may be a kiss, a hug, running your hand across her back as you walk past her, a playful tap on the butt, holding hands, etc. Hold hands while you talk sometimes. Sex is the most misunderstood, taboo subject on the planet, and so it goes with most couples. They may engage and procreate, but rarely do they talk about it, learn about it and explore it together. It's usually relegated to a self-conscious act done quickly a few minutes before bedtime. Great lovers are quite open about their sex loves together. They don't just screw and roll over, they do it slow, talk and learn about it as they go along. Be honestly loving and don't overdo patronizing love taps that you don't really mean but say because you're insecure. You have to compromise and give up some of your irritating, selfish, trivial, dirty habits. I knew one girl who was a clean freak and I was a slob, so the twain never met. Don't confront, embarrass or come on too strong in knowing about his life. Give him space. Keep the relationship as number one and everything else as bull. Don't nitpick on each other's weak points. Be graceful when the other tries a good thing after a squabble. Don't give him impossible ultimatums. Try to be positive about the love all the time. If you want good sex, you gotta show that you want it, be interested in it and be interested in her sexual needs as well as her moods, like when she's on her period or feeling like she's getting fat and dumpy, you gotta reassure her. All girls are suckers for chivalry. All girls and guys are brought up on Cinderella, fairy tale fantasies in just about every book and on just about every movie and TV show they see, so your job is to know that the real world ain't exactly fairy tale land, but you can do your best in your own little way to show your love muffin that you think she's the most sweetest, beautifulest, wonderfulest angelic being who ever walked the planet. Every girl secretly wants to be whisked away by a wonderful, tall dark alpha male, while every guy secretly wants to be an honorable, upstanding, chivalrous macho, manly stud with his girl, so try to play out these roles in real life. Take a look at the way a little girl clutches onto her doll. The adult girl wants you to hold her in this way, real close like. Note how you kiss and slobber all over your dog or cat. Love your beau like you love your pet. For all guys, take a look through a frivolous women's magazine sometimes. Look through the ads and see the girls acting all cute and special, then see the romantic ads with guys in them. It's very simple. Make a girl feel cutesy and special, like she's this perfect thing right out of the pages of a frivolous ad in one of those glitzy magazines. You know, she's worth it, go girl, all that don't impress me much stuff. Many guys can't do this because they're too repressed. If you can do this even on all those soppy mundane days, you will be a great lover, by far surpassing just about everybody else, because most people are boring, selfish, lazy duds after they settle into a routine of work, eat, watch TV, car wash, golf and mow the lawn on the weekends. People fantasize about great love all the time, but rarely do they take action to make their romantic visions come true, because it takes guts to initiate corny romantic notions, especially for guys. They think it's nerdy, but if the girl lets the guy play it out, he might keep doing it. After all the talk shows I've seen, I've concluded that self-respect is directly proportional to the amount of love a person is willing to give to another person, but this is really quite rare because most people don't give the effort it takes to strive to be attractive and always cordial to their partners. They just give in to the slobs they really are and take their love life for granted, which is a mortal sin to the ideal of the great lover. A great lover holds his partner in sacred regard, thinks about her and does things for her all the time, and he does this by holding himself highly and striving to be nice, honorable, and clean for her. The typical guy works, goes home and watches TV. The wife takes care of the kids and gets fat watching soap operas. This often leads to a mundanely comfortable life, as two spiritually dead people accept each other as they go off into the oblivion of life after 35. But the few truly inspiring older loving couples I've seen in my life all had the same few characteristics, namely they enjoyed being in each other's company, they talked about superficial and deep things equally as well, they sat close together, the guy did little romantic things for the girl, they went for dates and romantic getaways, they kissed, looked into each other's eyes, went for walks together, they hugged and really loved each other, pledging to cherish the love and get as much passion as they could get out of this entity called life as a human being on planet Earth. Men are generally the breadwinners, and that's it, with no forethought of emotionally connecting with their wives on a daily basis. Doing an equitable share of the housework. All great marriages have these two qualities and the players feel like a team. One survey said that the average man spends less than 2 minutes a day talking to his wife. It's so simple, but many couples are duds because they commit the easiest sin of all. Alienation, frustration, and anger start out slowly and quietly on a daily basis, then build up until it's so great that the marriage is dead. It all starts with neglect. You come home from work and watch TV, she does the housework, watches the kids and her soap operas. There's no common ground there, each of you go off and do your own things. She feels resentment because you're a boring dud, you feel resentment because she's a frumpy nag. Most relationships die because of built-up anger that festers then explodes in the heat of the moment. Use calmness and humor to de-escalate tense situations. Love Essays 8. There's no greater sight than the sight of someone doing something out of love for their beau. Love is a mix of equals, a shared vision together, well-defined roles, and simply going the distance. Ideals fade in comparison to day-to-day reality, where you simply just connect, have a bit of affection, some fun, and that's as good as it gets in most cases. One of the greatest things you can do for love is cooking supper, building her a workroom, etc. I remember, during an interview on A&E's biography, a friend of the Reagans saying that Nancy would have supper ready and she'd always be waiting there with a big kiss for him when he got home, with that look of love in her eyes. This is love in action. She enjoyed doing things for him out of pure love and he appreciated it. The easiest way to make the relationship work is to go back to old-fashioned values and think about them as you navigate through the stormy waters of love. To be a proper husband, you have to at least show enough love for your wife to feel it and care about her. That's to say, many men take their wives completely for granted. Why not put her on a pedestal as if she's it for you, period? And the wives have to let the husbands be the gentlemen they want to be. The little things always matter. Make a definite point to greet each other and say goodbye when leaving or coming home at any time from anywhere. A kiss and a hug always helps too. It smooths everything out. You need straight close contact on a daily basis. Why not a random phone call every once in a while to tell her you're thinking about her? Don't become callous and cynical when your husband tries to do little things for you to make you feel special. It's alright to have a happy marriage and be fun to live with. A marriage is a union of two people in love to help each other make it through and have fun in the process. That means resisting all outside temptations that you know are wrong, like looking to other people for sexual gratification or partaking in any other excesses, regardless of what they are. Too much of anything is not good for you. I saw a show on TV that demonstrates my taken for granted point, but this time with the shoe on the other foot. There was an audition for a TV sitcom. All these 30-ish women came in who were wives in real life, and when they role-played, they treated the guy callously, like if he asked for something, they told him to get it himself, etc. A 30-ish girl came in who had never been married, and when she role-played, she acted like the helping, nurturing housewife, and got the part. If you treat your beau callously / for granted in the little things, it will slowly destroy the relationship. Be honest with each other. The little white lies, if allowed to flourish, sometimes come back to haunt us tenfold, so if something's on your mind, it's best to get it off your chest as quickly as possible so you don't have to feel guilty about it. We all have a conscience. I believe it's innate, and there's really no excuse to hurt the other's feelings or do insensitive things while pretending you don't realize what you're doing. All that stuff about male chauvinist pigs and love slaves doesn't and shouldn't apply to any relationship. You can't expect to be a lazy slob and get away with it. Everybody knows in their heart when they're being a jerk. Your work or business is either a companion to the marriage or a rival to it, therefore consider doing some kind of work that the two of you are comfortable with and enjoy, or at least bring the other into it in some way, filling them in on the details. In today's era of the double income family, very often both people go off into their own lives without regard for the other. Once again, you should bring back the old cliché and talk to each other about your jobs. Finances are one of the biggest stumbling blocks to a healthy marriage. Be honest in financial matters and your partner will help you see it through. When you lie to your partner, you're just hurting yourself. Put the desires of your mate first, i.e. do the housework, but be ready for your man when he gets home. Don't gripe, discuss. Be considerate. Help with their work. Show an interest in his job. It's the little things that count. Laugh a lot and feel the joy of your marriage like a symphony that gets better all the time. Husbands should love their wives as part of themselves. For since a man and his wife are united as one, a man is really doing himself a favor and loving himself when he loves his wife. It's not enough to love your partner, you have to show it. Not phony stuff, but a genuine desire to be close to the other person, to sit with them, to do things together, to take walks in the park, hold hands, and so on and so forth. I knew a middle-aged guy who sat in the living room and watched his programs while getting drunk, and his wife watched her programs in the rec room downstairs. That's the way they always were whenever I visited them. Can you imagine what kind of love there was in that marriage? I will bet it's pretty damn typical. People just grow used to each other and stay together with no real love there. Is that you? It's never too late to change. Quite often in relationships, the husband becomes impatient with the jittery wife and the wife becomes too cynical for such simple things as opening the car door for her. Act like a lady and he will treat you like a gentleman is supposed to treat a lady. For the man, think of your wife as a precious flower and treat her as though you don't want to get the petals crushed. For instance, when going shopping, go with your wife and open doors for her. Carry her things like a chivalrous knight of old. You're not being a schmuck. If she's a lady, she's worth it and she will appreciate it. To love is to serve your partner's wishes and receive their support. Try to avoid little sarcastic remarks that seem to be in the name of love but could poison the relationship. For instance, you look real cute like Miss Piggy, or you're such a neat freak. Don't try to embarrass your spouse or say mean things about them, especially in the presence of others and especially if he or she's there. If you wanna play that game, you're on shaky ground. For instance, the guy whose wife made a mistake on their checking account. He went around telling everyone she couldn't even add 2 and 2 like a joke, but he almost drove her to a nervous breakdown until they finally split up. If one is down, the other up, the two of you should help each other get over it together. Try to come home at a regular time from work. If you're late or anything, give her the common courtesy of a phone call. Instead of making a big purchase for yourself like those golf clubs or that motorboat, perhaps consider how the money could better be used for the house or on her. Keep your promises about doing things together on the weekend. Don't be too chauvinistic to help out with the house chores like cleaning and cooking. Don't let anyone or anything take priority or get between you and your wife. Do the things she wants done around the house. Take her out on dates just like before the marriage and always treat her special. Take her shopping and buy her gifts for no apparent reason. Tailor your romantic actions to her personally, i.e. just don't act generic. In order to be thoughtful, loving, tender, and romantic, you have to do the little things like buy her a gift she really likes rather than just the usual red roses, so you have to become sensitive to her needs. Ask her what she wants to do. Help with the children. Keep opening and closing those doors. She can do it fine on her own, but it's the gesture that counts. In short, show her by words and actions that she's the most important person in the world to you. For the women, consider devoting time to your husband instead of the children all the time. Do the housework and do special things for him like cooking his favorite meal and keeping his clothes clean. Try not to procrastinate with housekeeping duties. Don't be a phone addict to the neglect of your husband. If your man works and you're the housewife, try to be appealing as opposed to frumpy when he gets home. You don't have to be the humble servant, but do your duties cheerfully and he should love you all the more. Spiritually, put the desires of your mate first, and if he's a good person, he will feel the same about you. 'Tis better to give than to receive. See yourself as an entity that lets love flow outward unceasingly to your partner. When you give your love freely without thought of payback, others will almost always respond back. Let the other know how much you love them. In some cases, little irritations can almost destroy a relationship, such as one person leaving the top off the toothpaste and the other hating it, or one person a slob, the other a neat freak. In such cases, work to a compromise that keeps you both happy, like each having your own tube of toothpaste, or give the slob a room, closet, dresser, or box with which he can do whatever he wants to with. It's all about basic respect. If you're separated for more than a day or two, take the time to call or write a letter. If one of you are especially tired or ill, let the other tuck you into bed and dote over you like a mother with her baby. No one wants to come home to an empty house, so if you have to go out before your spouse comes home, leave them a note explaining where you will be and telling them how much you love them. Make it a point to learn about the other's job/profession and to acquaint yourself with their working associates. Just as an exercise, sit down and make a list of all areas where you can be of consideration and assistance to your wife in daily life. Love Essays 9. Men marry because they are tired, women, because they're curious, both are disappointed. Oscar Wilde, The Picture of Dorian Gray. I saw an older preacher who had been married for 30+ years say that marriages can't get good on their own. All good marriages take hard work. He made the analogy of a couple growing together as two potatoes skinned alive, peeled, then put into a pot of boiling water alive to feel the pain for a while. After they get through that, they're taken out, mashed together, with some spices, milk, and cloves mixed in until they taste good. Look at this as a successful marriage: nasty pain getting to know each other, compromising your true self to accommodate her, then, if you're lucky, you reach a point where everything's fine. Love and respect are the only ways to build trust. You cannot build intimacy when you are being defensive or closed. You can't be afraid of exposing your heart and soul to your lover. You build intimacy by opening yourself up emotionally and physically. Intimacy grows from a feeling of safety. Safety comes by being good to your lover all the time. Trust leads to safety and intimacy. With intimacy, lovers can touch affectionately and share themselves freely. Overlook mistakes. Don't criticize. Encourage, praise. Try to understand your partner. Give your partner unconditional love. If one of us hurt, the other should wipe away the tears. Believe in each other. Show each other all the kindness that you can. You should each be first in the other's eyes. This way, no one can come between you as in an affair. The seeds to the destruction of a relationship are often blamed on outside reasons like money, affair, etc., but the truth is that it's all about the two players involved. Intimacy must be nourished by a romantic, sexual relationship characterized by tenderness, love, and a sense of each person feeling loved by the other. A good sexual relationship leads to a strong emotional connection. Love is joy, optimism, a sense of security and peace. When intimacy is ongoing, husband and wife become emotionally sensitive to each other's moods. Love is always being concerned with the other's well-being. Great lovers resolve their disagreements rather quickly because they cannot bear to be without each other. Be helpful. Be positive. Give each other space. Give him or her their privacy. Don't burst into closed doors without knocking. Don't blab out things she tells you in confidence. Repay kindness with kindness. Love Essays 10. The true test is, do you feel like you belong together? Love never fails. Corinthians 13:8. True love comes without effort, like a perfect sunny day. People fall in love because their lovers make them feel great and special. I feel good around someone I love because of some undefinable chemistry where I love them for them, beautiful people being themselves, still with a sense of innocence, curiosity, and wonderment about the world, untainted by the usual things most of us get sucked into like materialism, pop culture and frivolity, who they are as people, supportive and warm, loving, upbeat with an identity of their own and the inner strength to be themselves. These are all loving qualities. Be like this and make your lover feel like this. In a way, love is like life. You can never stop proving to yourself that you're an inspired individual honoring your inner standard, otherwise you die a spiritual death. It's the same with love. You can never stop showing him or her that you love her, otherwise it dies. Never take it for granted, the biggest cardinal sin for most men in the love game. Little things mean a lot. It's the thought that counts. Everybody's a sucker for sincere compliments and sweet nothings, little gifts, and romantic gestures. Women store their anger up because they're not supposed to be angry. It's not ladylike, so there's often some pent-up emotion brewing beneath the surface. Talk to her, ask her how her day was, and listen when she tells you about it. Don't blabber away with solutions, just show her you understand her, support her life, and will always be there to help if she needs it. Just like you should listen to her, women don't really want the strong silent type or the brooding artist who's always mad but never says why. They don't want to feel alienated by the silence of their guy because they build up little melodramas in their heads, misinterpreting his silence for why he doesn't like her anymore. They want men to talk and express their feelings, problems, likes and dislikes to them. You're not just your work. Don't be a workaholic and don't live for your work. Remember, all work no play makes Jack a dull boy. Be light-hearted, easygoing, and show her you really care about her. Romance is an escape from reality, to be whisked away into a beautiful, lusty fantasy world for a while. Do it to your lover and with them, men and women alike. There's no shame in women initiating romance sometimes. I believe that most of us desperately want to love somebody and be loved back. Men and women are equally romantic fools. Every one of us dreams of the perfect, romantic love in the privacy of our minds, then the real world hits. The way to romance a man is to go to the realm where he feels strong and dominant, talk to him there and try to show an interest. Like if your man is a jock, try to exercise with him or talk to him about it, or if he's a grease monkey, hang out with him in the garage for a while and ask him what he's doing. The way to romance a woman is to play up to her emotions all the time. Make her feel like she's really special. The corniest lines work if they're said with sincerity. Love isn't love until it's given away. If you make her feel special, treat her gently, talk to her and cuddle up to her every night affectionately, nothing else will matter. An old man I saw on TV said his secret to 63 years of marriage was that his wife was always right, meaning that he kept his mouth shut and let all the trivial crap fly away. The secret is kindness and gentleness, and to get to a point where you feel lost if the other isn't around. I watched my father get that lost, lonely feeling when my mother went away on a trip for a few weeks. After 30 years, they were attached to each other. It's a sharing thing, somebody there through both the good and the bad. Pay attention to the other person's needs. Don't get into big battles. If you see it coming, just walk out the door and leave for a while rather than risk an ugly scene where you might do something you will regret later. Love Essays 11. Let them know you love them. You're most alive when you're in love. Care for who I am as a person. Make me laugh. People will forget what you said, forget what you did, but will never forget how you made them feel. This is what everything comes down to in the game of love. How do you make her feel, and how does she make you feel, or more specifically, how do you feel when you're around her? I remember a few particular girls I knew were so nice, pleasant, easygoing, fun people that I felt good just being with them in their presence. They didn't have to do anything to impress me, I just felt nice sharing time with them in an easy way, like that song by Supertramp. It just felt so nice, you and me. Think of love as a circle or a rubber band being stretched back and forth. Sometimes we find each other and everything's great, but then things happen, we feel stressed, we grow distant for a while, but then we make a move to get it back so it goes good for a while, then we lose it again. This the way a lot of relationships work. Some eventually die, most just muddle through in this mundane fashion. You shouldn't have to settle for mundanity. Low expectations lead to low results. You simply have to turn up the volume on wanting to connect romantically. Love is generally hot or not, and that big gray area in between is more not than hot, so if it's not hot, It's really nothing, so the game is to keep it hot all the time, or at least keep it positive, so you can go for those momentary flings of passion with ease, like on a weekend when you surprise her with a getaway to a cozy inn, or on any night when you let it all out with amorous affection. I believe that most women are brought up on fairy tales and delusions about how great love is, and then when they get there with a real live human being, their expectations aren't met. Then compound this with the toughness of being a parent, possibly working a job on top of this, and the endless housework, and the dream dies very quickly. So you must know going in what a marriage will be all about, and prepare for an ordinary, not so very romantic life when all is said and done. Many people can't make each other happy anymore and stop trying as they live out the daily routine, each going into their own little worlds and not communicating much with each other beyond the mundane usual daily stuff. People who lose love generally argue a lot, don't have fun, don't feel close, don't understand each other, don't have sex, and don't feel like they're in love. The magic of the first attraction is long gone. If you want love to work, you have to put the past behind you and strive to make a new commitment to each other. Stress is a big killer of life, so you have to learn to relax, separate yourself from the stress, and try for romantic feelings again. When we're stressed, we hide in our shells and avoid our lovers, so we get alienated. You have to get over it and go to your lover when you're feeling down, tell her your problems so that she understands what's going on with you. Some of the biggest ways to alienate your lover is to not pull your own weight in the relationship emotionally or financially, to lie, to criticize, to be miserable and depressed, try to control him or her, spend very little time with him or her, don't trust her, consciously try to hurt her somehow and hold onto to your own hurt by lashing out at her. Get rid of all the animosity of the past and make an effort to want to be together. Be an upstanding person. Don't make promises you can't keep. It's all about simple respect and love for your partner, demonstrated with passionate commitment, which means affection and interest. Show her that you're romantically alive. Take the focus away from you and put it on her. Acceptance without judgment of your lover as they are is a big part of it. If you feel love for them, the loving actions will follow. You have to be corny romantic, it's that simple. Make your partner feel special and wonderful. Sometimes it's better not to be brutally honest, but to keep your little criticisms in and let them pass. Say good things instead of bad things. Encourage instead of discourage. You have to talk like best friends and get that easy, comfortable feeling back. You have to work out your differences, accept each other, and connect intimately in the bedroom. Often there's nothing specific you can put a finger on. It's just boredom, loss of spark. If it's something specific, talk about it, get out in the open and solve it. If it's just boredom, it takes effort to get it back. We often have so many concerns and problems that love takes a backseat. You can't just blindly work on your love life with cheap compliments here and there. You have to actually make time for you two alone together for either several hours here and there, or weekends going for a romantic getaway, or spending time with each other in the bedroom or in the house in general, just being with each other, connecting with each other by having fun and relaxing together. You can't put love on hold. You have to keep at it all the time to keep a sense of connection there. It's as simple as a simple conversation for 10 minutes while you eat supper together. It allows you to touch bases and connect to each other. Touch more, listen to each other. Try to understand your partner and sympathize with them. With a monogamous relationship from my past, I was in her company a few hours a day, and the rest of the time it was me mostly by myself as I wanted. When I watch TV, I like analytical, educational stuff. She liked the mainstream pablum shows, which I couldn't watch with her because it goes against everything I believe in, with my contempt for most things in the pop culture realm. I used to smoke dope, she used to smoke cigarettes and drink wine. Every relationship has to respect the individuality of each person and has to give each other space and time to be alone, even if just to masturbate in peace, which everybody does if they're normal and sane. No matter how much you love somebody, you must leave them alone for a while, and you must get away to be alone for at least a little while in order to preserve your own peace of mind. Next comes cleanliness, grooming, and enough self-respect to take care of your body to keep it sexually desirable. If you wanna be close to someone, you'd better look good, wear clean clothes, take a lot of showers and brush your teeth all the time. Everybody has pet peeves, things they don't like. I like peace and quiet, so I'd never make it with a talkative girl or a girl who needs to make the scene somewhere and wants to drag me with her. I need a quiet, gentle spirit who's happy in her own space just being herself. You have to either find someone who doesn't get on your nerves just by being themselves, or learn to keep it all in when they irritate the hell out of you. Day-to-day living is pragmatic reality. There have to be certain basic rules of respect, like no smelly clothes laying around. If you make a mess in the kitchen, clean it up. Whatever you use like a tool, detergent, etc., put it back in the same place. Have a routine for basic things like supper at 6 o'clock every night, grocery shopping Thursday nights, and housework must definitely be balanced. Day-to-day living is often not a romantic fantasy. It's the stress of life, work, money, the house, obligations, illness, parents, in-laws, kids, stepchildren, friends, mundane tasks, family rituals like church, etc. You have to juggle all of these things to realize the final goal, freedom and happiness in a peaceful, comfortable home. That's the highest goal. You have to learn to relax and enjoy life as individuals and as a couple. Especially try to get some harmony between you two as a couple in matters of work, money, and the house. Let the man help out in the kitchen. Ask him to. Try to have shared activities that you do together. Two people stuck in the same home have to give and take. Don't bug each other all the time. I told my girlfriend to get a hobby to occupy her mind because I spend at least half of every day going through my own paces, and I don't want anyone bugging me no matter how much in love I am. It's the same thing with most men. They need to be alone for a while by themselves without a girl around asking stupid questions or making stupid small talk. When I work on something like my computer, I don't want anybody disturbing me. To me, most talk is frivolous. I don't even want to talk much most of the time, but I do just to be sociable because silence seems to imply there's something wrong. You have to reassure girls by talking to them about anything just to connect, to let them know you're on their wavelength and not alienated somehow. If you don't talk to a girl for 5 minutes every 48 hours, she starts to think you're alienated and don't love her anymore. If you talk to her for 5 minutes, you're free and clear for the next 40 hours, at which time you have to connect to make her feel safe. Most men are mission-oriented. We have our little missions during the course of the day, and we won't let anyone interfere with their completion. Husbands on vacation or just retired often get on their wives' nerves because they don't know what to do with themselves. Each has to be complete and have a life unto themselves where they do things on their own. Love Essays 12. Her and I feasted on love, every mode of it, solemn and merry, romantic and realistic, sometimes as dramatic as a thunderstorm, sometimes as comfortable and unemphatic as putting on your soft slippers. No cranny of heart or body remained unsatisfied. C.S. Lewis, A Grief Observed. Love is two people who instinctively belong to each other. There are 3 common relationship errors. Expecting too much, romantics. Expecting too little, cynics. Expecting it not to change, the dummies. Every relationship goes through all 3 cycles over and over again. Revise your perspective to accept yourself as the most important person in your lover's life and be responsible about it. Balance is the golden mean, as the ancient Greeks once said. Assume responsibility for your own life. Don't be too controlling or too dependent. Each do an equitable amount of work around the house and in the relationship. Give each other attention. There's a lot of psychobabble, psychoanalysis involved in the analysis of why marriages fail. Every situation's unique, we all have minds to figure it out for ourselves, so I will leave it up to you to analyze your own relationship. Solve all problems immediately. Be willing to bend but not break. If your partner is sensitive about something, don't bring it up just to spite her. Stay attractive, healthy, interesting, and trustworthy. Don't make empty promises. Admit your own defects. Be nice and courteous. Give of yourself. Don't try to change your mate. Accept your mate's lifestyle as long as they're not doing anything immoral. Keep your bad moods to yourself. Be happy. Don't play mind games. Be a good provider. Don't nag. Don't put down your lover's relatives or friends. Tell her you love her. Do things for her. Have some fun. Don't make important decisions in a vacuum, talk to your wife about them first. Don't criticize, either to your partner or to others. Live within your means. Have private areas in the house and private times for each other. You should each have your own private space and little rules of respect, like always knock before you enter a closed room even if it's the master bedroom. Don't hold grudges. Go to bed together at the same time. Share your life with each other. Try to be a better person. Laugh a little. Do alternate days where one or the other is responsible for intimacy and must do things to actively promote it. For instance, the wife initiates Monday, Wednesday, Friday, while the man initiates Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, with Sunday off to go back to your old selves and see how lousy it was. You must make both daily life and sexual requests of your partner in order to facilitate communication and cooperation. As relationships go on, people change and so do the relationships, hence, it's in constant flux and must be re-evaluated and renegotiated on a regular basis. That's what keeps a healthy relationship alive, constant vigilance as to its evolving nature. It all sounds complex, but all it really means is just don't sit back and assume everything stays the same once you're married. You both will change, so the relationship must change accordingly. Getting it right is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice, your choice to know what's going on and doing what it takes to keep it real. It's all up to you to make it happen. Truth is love in the real life of mundane day-to-day reality. Get real, live in the real world. Have the intelligence to analyze your partner and see them as they really are, not through rose-colored glasses. If there's a problem, don't be an egomaniac. Swallow your pride and do something about it, because problems exist in a spiraling cycle. If left unchecked, they keep getting bigger and bigger. When initiating a solution to a problem, make sure your timing is right. Do it when she's relaxed. A good way to relieve tension is simply to do something recreational together. There is no rule book or formula. You have to experiment and learn together, and that includes all the bumps in the road. Find out what makes each other tick, be it sex, hugs, laughter, gifts, talking, etc. Then use these as your tools of love. Don't be selfish. Where else would you be dedicating your energy to if not your spouse? Probably on something trivial, so the point is, don't be too proud or afraid to do things and spend corny time with your spouse. The biggest rule of all is to have the sense to see if you're being an asshole and change if you have to. Watch the TV talk shows sometimes. They're loaded with assholes who come on acting real smug, then when they come back for the update, they all say they've realized the error of their ways and changed. It can happen to anyone, and what's worse, they don't realize they're being jerks. Watch yourself. Analyze your friends and see if they're really relaxed with you. Just about everything I've read about finding marital happiness talks about talking and negotiation as their major themes. Couples are two distinct individuals joining a union, each with their own baggage, so there will be differences and possibly clashes. A good way to avoid conflicts is to know each other beforehand by talking about your life histories, personalities, quirks, likes, dislikes, etc. Then when you move in together, keep discussing everything, from the mundane to the important stuff. Some therapists suggest that each person write down what they want the relationship to be like in short sentences in what is called a relationship vision, and then simply to sit down, exchange the statements and talk about them. If you're struggling now, you have to take a leap of faith and go for a second honeymoon and or accept the fact that your partner is imperfect and love her anyway. Life's too damn short to play games. It doesn't have to be about negotiation or renegotiation either. If it's the real thing, there's a peace of mind there between the two, each independent in their own way but united as a strong, close unit. It's not a business deal or a contract, it should be a smooth-flowing, nice, warm stream of love that just goes on and on and on. Life shouldn't get too deep. Just get up every day and love each other. Little actions is what it's all about. True lovers have an ease about them. They don't try to stifle each other. They aren't jealous when the other does things alone or with people of the opposite sex. They don't have to because there's an implicit trust there that's stronger than any casual flirt out there on the streets. Marriage is not you finding someone, moving in and nothing much changes except for that convenient sex toy on the other side of the bed. Marriage will cause you to change whether you want to or not. It's not your partner who will necessarily consciously change you, it's the dynamic nature of the marriage. You two people become an entirely different entity than you were alone. You must realize this and be ready to change and subordinate some of your own needs and desires for the good of the marriage. Presumably, the goals of a marriage are mutual growth, support, and happiness. Shoot for it. Knowledge is power. Strive to learn more about yourself and about your partner. In a study of perception where psychologists asked people about themselves then asked their partners about them, they found that what people thought their partners were like inside was often quite different than how they really felt, so you gotta make it a point to be tuned in all the time. Check in with your partner every day, even if just at the supper table talking about the mundane things without the TV on or the newspaper in your hand. In a word, a good marriage is the integration of the parts into the whole. Love Essays 13. Don't try to change me. Single people fight loneliness, married people fight monotony. Don't marry someone you can live with, marry someone you can't live without. The best lovers are people who are stable as is without a desperate need for love. Desperate, dependent type people may be good for the ego, but they wear you out and you get tired of them after a while. In any relationship, you not only get what you deserve, you get what you think. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you fear the relationship will fail, it will. If you feel good about it, it will stay strong. Many relationships are immature, people pairing for the wrong reasons. Mature relationships take compromise and analysis, to think things over rather than going spontaneous all the time. Take a look at yourself. Would you like to date yourself? Would you be a good catch? How have you been treating your lover lately? How does your lover treat you? Is there something wrong with him or her? Do you use your relationship to mask over some inadequacy you have, or are you a genuinely loving person? Do you feel relaxed around each other? Is there stress in your life somehow? Do you feel secure in the love without either side having to say it or prove it all the time? Do you feel your lover loves you, or is it just a delusion? Do you love your lover more than he loves you? It has to be near equal in order to succeed. In love, there are times when each side takes up the slack while the other is feeling weak, but if you always give and don't get back, it's time to get out. Some people get into relationships out of insecurity, don't really love the other person but use them as a security crutch because they're afraid of going it alone. A great love is one where you sincerely enjoy being with your lover rather than feeling tension when you are with him or her. Get away from poison people who disapprove of the relationship and don't hang around with your buds at the expense of your spouse. When you screw up, be mature enough to admit it and apologize. Based on an internet survey, the features a couple that was in love had most in common are as follows. They feel good about their lives. They feel a spiritual connection with each other. They share their lives together. They support and appreciate each other. They have a healthy sex life together. They live pleasant, fun lives. They really like each other. They like to do things together. They feel relaxed with each other. They want to help each other get the most out of life. There are moments of joy together. They have the same energy level for life. They have the same political, social, economic views. They write love letters to each other. They do romantic things to express their love for each other. They spend easy time together. They do outdoor activities together. They talk to each other regularly, compliment each other and show love through body language. They tell each other what they like and don't like about the relationship. They enjoy each other's company but take breaks from each other too. They have daily rituals of time spent together such as eating supper or walking the dog, and romantic rituals like kissing when they greet each other. They talk easily among each other. They nurture the love. They spend time together relaxing. They explore each other's lives. They have no expectations, just accept each other as is. They treat each other as equals. The guy respects the girl and doesn't impose sex on her. The guy does some housework. They argue but solve their fights quickly. They're willing to change and learn from each other. They have a romantic supper and dance at least once a month. They are best friends. They give each other boundaries and personal space. They feel for each other, talk out their problems and make their lover feel better when they're down. They have separate bathrooms, or at least the guy cleans up after himself. They shop for groceries together. They learn a little about each other's childhood. They listen to each other. They massage each other occasionally. They listen to good music in the house. They make the house comfortable for themselves. When there are hard times, they support each other. When they screw up, they apologize and forgive. They are part of the community as a couple. They go to church together, visit friends, go to the local fair, etc. Love Essays 14. Ah, love. Could you and I with fate conspire to grasp this sorry scheme of things entire? Would not we shatter it to bits and then remold it nearer to the heart's desire? Omar Khayyam. Trust your feelings in love. Follow the intuitive natural energy in a relationship. When it's hot, play it out. When it's not, back off for a bit. The most positive qualities everybody wants are friendship, love, intimacy, good conversation, doing things together, physical looks and body, money, ability to make money, honesty, trust, easygoing nature, sense of humor, loyalty, respect, empathy, gentleness, kindness, sex. In the old way of dealing with relationships, the focus was on the other person, what they could do for you and what was wrong with them when it wasn't so hot. But the more liberated way is to focus on yourself as an enlightened human being. If you're doing fine, pass it on to your lover. If the relationship is off, search yourself to see what you could be doing wrong, if anything. Maybe it is your fault, maybe it's not, but regardless, do what you can to smooth it over and make it better. You don't own anyone. Focus on yourself and culture your love of life and you will be a great lover. There are a few great natural loves around, but most don't last that way over a lifetime. It takes work to keep it going. It's like a dance. You want a smooth flow, but you have to work at it. Sometimes one leads, sometimes the other. Sometimes you get real close, sometimes you back off. Don't try to change your partner, accept them for who they are and go along with the flow as a team. Be clear. Tell your lover what you're really feeling inside. Always be courteous. Sometimes a few simple kind words can go a long way in easing the frustrations of your lover, both with you and within themselves. Sex and love are matters of extreme individuality to everyone. Be aware of your partner's differences from you, make allowance for them and accept them for who they are. This dynamic is always changing. You have to accommodate your lover in the moment. Try to think about it as win-win, not win-lose, or anything else. Silence is often a silent killer. Both lovers constantly need talk, reassurance, and feedback in order to feel that they're part of a team. It's not about winning arguments, it's about having the humility to swallow your ego, to let things go and let the other person get it all off their chests to feel better. Let them think they've won if it helps, which is what girls often do so as not to alienate their husbands. There will always be times when you get mad and frustrated, so during these moments, learn to bite your lip and appease your lover. The only things constant in any relationship are change, negotiation, and compromise. Try to stay easygoing and loose through it all. Keep an open mind, think long-term and always strike a balance between your selfishness and her needs. Simply make the effort to stay committed. Show your girl you want to be settled down with her. Share your gentle side. Be romantic. Help her, support her, speak from the heart. Take it one day at a time. Show her you understand her. Love is a voluntary merging of you as an individual with someone else over time. Think of it as one bubble combining with another concentrically overlapping and then finally merging into one. You must dispense with all romantic scenes you've ever seen in the media to know that your relationship is a more individual thing between you and your love pie. Don't necessarily compare yourself to the long-flowing romantic scenes of romantic movies. If your love can be a civil, intimate comfort with each other day by day, you win the game of love. That's how simple it is. Love is making the most of each moment. It's service to your lover before yourself. It's knowing that it can always get better. Love is actions speaking way more than words, even though loving words are important because they can help inspire loving action. A great lover is an unassuming person without pretenses who tries to bathe his or her lover with love and inspiration all the time. Try to have a listening ear, a tender touch and supportive words. Be warm, quiet, friendly, easygoing, and nice. Relationships should be fun, enjoying each other's company, making the most of each moment. You can never get enough love for each other nor be too close. Your love should be everything, a team with a direction where you support each other through all your endeavors. Try to always be appropriate for every situation. Dress appropriately and keep clean for your lover. Be a pleasant person as much as you can. Be precise. Don't BS your wife about anything. Be tender-hearted, caring, and try to make your lover happy. Commitment through the thick and thin is love made real. Don't try to control anyone, inspire them instead. Be idealistic. Have a positive vision for your life and for the life of your family. Be the rock of stability to your lover. Commitment is forever. It's partially duty and responsibility but more so duty and passion. Care for your lover. Love is opening up and letting yourself get discovered by your lover. You create your own life day by day, you should create your love life day by day. You don't get married, you develop a marriage over a lifetime. It's not one shot and it's over. It goes on and on, every day a new test in the balance of the love battle, trying to keep an even keel of loving each other enough lately. Sometimes there are great romantic moments, other times great droughts, but the game is to get through it all loving each other enough day by day to keep a connection and spark there. There's no second chance or a dress rehearsal. The marriage goes on day after day. The time to keep things stable is now. Try to live in a flow of love, sex, and romance. Don't just put sex into a box to be done at night, try to live sensually all the time in spirit. If you try to go super passionate all the time, you will burn out. You have to be calmer and more regular with it. If you don't practice sex, love, and romance day by day, it will die, it's that simple. Instead of trying to portray sex role stereotypes, each should try for a little more androgyny, women should be more assertive, men more gentle and nurturing. Most of life is a routine, just like marriages devolve into a routine. If you want sex and romance, you have to really work to keep it going. There will be lows and highs. Just keep it going. Most families put work, money, kids, housework, and TV first before the couple together enjoying each other. This is wrong. The couple together as a unit should come first, then everything else will go a lot easier. Write down how many minutes you spend alone together in conscious communication, including sex and talk, over a week. It's very low. Try to get it up by doing something together and having more romance and sex together. A husband and wife should be the primary unit. Everybody else should come second, like co-workers, friends, relatives, parental in-laws, hobbies, work, TV, etc. Problems that each individual has should be shared with each other and worked on together, even though most men are lone wolves and don't share their burdens with their wives. This is wrong. If you don't share, she thinks you're hiding an affair, so I suggest you tell her and let her understand you better. Don't let your partner depend on you for anything. Show that you're low maintenance and independent. Don't take her nagging personally and don't let it get personal. Let some of it blow away. Don't think morbid negative thoughts about the relationship. Make new beginnings and start fresh. Don't try to be the perfect serious type all the time. Don't interrupt or correct your partner. Spend quiet time together. Try to be happy away from your spouse. Find your own happiness. When you're feeling depressed and angry, get away from your spouse and don't blame them for your discontentment. Give a little bit in the balance department. Try to better the house somehow. Don't compare your spouse to others. Before you lose your temper, stop for 30 seconds. Don't demand too much. Be supportive and encouraging. Make the house a relaxing place to be. Stay calm. Don't blow up at every little crisis. Let go of your perfect image of her. If you're uptight, go into your own room for a while. Don't let your kids play you off each other. When all else fails, be quiet and loving. See your partner for the real person they are. Only when we truly love ourselves can we open up enough to love others and let them love us, but we have to combine intention with action. If you want love, be loving, practice it, think it, live it, breathe it. Love is getting beyond your own needs and desires to do something for someone else. How often do you do that? If you consciously focused on being like this just a little bit more, you will eventually become a more loving person. Listen to your heart. When it tells you to do something, don't question it and say it will cost you money or waste your time. Just do it. Throw caution to the wind. Live your life with some sense of love and you will often find that it comes back to you returned many times over. All love comes from the heart. You have to culture that spiritual intention within that you want to love everybody because they're all part of God just like you're also a part of God. Therefore you must also love yourself, which is to love God, your spouse, children, and your fellow man. Love Essays 15. All you have to do is give up a little bit of you for him. Don't make everything a game. Late at night in that little room upstairs, take care of him. Make him feel important. If you can do that, you will have a happy and wonderful marriage. Mother of Corey in Barefoot in the Park. Your spouse is a mirror back to you of the way you treat her. Forget about all the love and intensity of the past. All that matters is now. Are you still sexy, wholesome, spunky, adventurous, appreciative, loving, a true companion? Maybe you're too controlling. Give him his own space. A happy couple is two people holding hands easily strolling down the lane. I saw a TV show about couples in crisis and one couple had 7 TVs in the house. The husband was hooked on TV, as are most people, at the expense of their marriages. Happy couples do things together. A happy couple feeds off each other like two strong growing entities. A sad couple destroy each other with their negative energy. It's just like you as an individual. If you have positive power, you win. If you feel bad, everything's off. You have to be positive, then connect in a positive way. True love is someone you want to see more of, not less. If kids and pets are attracted to your lover, that's a good sign. Don't try to change your lover no matter what. Live in your lover's shoes. Try to see life from their point of view, then see if you can be compatible with him or her. Try to feel what her life is all about. The game is to become one flesh. Don't go to bed angry. Either resolve it there or say you will talk about it tomorrow. Keep some kind of couple ritual that you do together, like walk the dog. Don't let the little annoying things get to you. You really have to understand the problems and stress your partner has and try to sympathize. Share your interests. The secret is compromise, a constant flux of give and take. Love is supposed to be two people coming together to become better versions of themselves. Everything always comes down to an interdependent emotional connection, how much you're consciously paying attention to your relationship, not just leaving it on safe mode. You have to meet together as a couple and family, talk to each other, do things and connect in some way. Men live by their ability to earn a living. If they can't provide for the family, they don't care about anything else. You have to make allowances for this, but if this is all right, sex, romance and intimacy will parallel the true strength of the relationship. If you're having great sex and romance, the relationship is good. If not, it's off. It's that simple. The biggest problem is that the husband takes the wife for granted and doesn't listen or only pretends to listen when she wants to talk. Women's biggest problem is probably that they blame the man for all their woes, nag him, make him feel guilty about things that happened 15 years ago and unload all their emotional baggage on him when he doesn't particularly want to hear it, but even still, he should still listen and act considerate. If something doesn't work, don't keep doing it. Do the good things, remember the good times. Compliments mean everything. You only change someone by positive reinforcement, not criticism. Do little things for your partner. Praise them. If you're mad, talk it out and have sex with each other regularly no matter what. Everything comes down to a balance of love, conversation, doing little things for each other, sex, intimacy, doing things together, etc. If something's off, you either fix it or let it get worse. It's not just this unconditional love for each other. It's always a game of, am I loving her enough lately, is she loving me enough lately, or are we just taking each other for granted? The big problem in a lot of marriages is that the balance tips not just to apathy but to contempt, anger, and hate. Then it becomes unbearable to live in the same house, even though many do, pretending it's fine, trying to act like there's still a marriage there. The rule is simple: know your partner's feelings and keep her at least in the moderate range of what you do for her, and this will determine how much she likes you back. If you're trying, most people will give you the benefit of the doubt and keep trying too. The hard part is to come together for a true loving connection and keep it there all the time, because you almost always lose it. Try to love each other, do things for each other, talk lovingly to each other and have good sex together. It can't be just two loners in the same house. You have to share the same dreams. If your real dreams, fantasies, and sleep dreams are of you alone without your spouse, it's a danger signal. Men often express love through actions like building a patio, buying a new stove, etc. It would be nice if a guy could tell his girl he loves her verbally, but it generally doesn't happen very often. Drop the shield, tell her you love her, then kiss her and hug her. Be a romantic fool. Do it, mean it, write her love letters, then follow up with kissing, hugging, and sex. Help her, be kind to her, go shopping with her, do the housework, lend her your car, love her, tell her I love you over and over and over and over again. Girls never get tired of being told you love them. Romance and love often give way to apathy, which is why you have to fight to keep being friends and lovers over a lifetime by being the best friend and lover you can be. Watch out when you feel down, out, and angry. You might try to take it on your spouse, putting them down, getting jealous of them, betraying them by sleeping around, etc. You must simply talk, do things together and love each other. Say what you mean what you say. Don't beat around the bush and pussyfoot. I generally talk straight up because I don't believe in games or trying to be cute. I say what's on my mind because I figure there's no sense trying to fool people. Your emotions are written all over your general mood anyway. Never assume anything. Always talk a little bit to see how your lover is thinking and feeling. There's a positive flow, a neutral flow, and a negative flow where one side is being a jerk and taking pot shots. When this happens, you can either try to fix it or leave. Rather than taking pot shots, your best bet is always to shut your mouth and leave for a while to cool off. Give your lover a chance. They need love most when they're the least lovable. Hang on for that extra 2 days to give them a chance to come around. The deeper you talk, generally the deeper the relationship. The more you show your partner romantic interest, the better off the relationship. The better you look, the better the relationship. The more you really try to understand her, the better the relationship. The more complete you are as an individual, the better lover you will be. The more you listen, the better lover you will be. Simply do things together. True love is to give all and expect nothing in return. When love is offered back to you, you take it graciously, but you never expect anything in return for your actions nor communicate that message that you expect something back in return for your love. Yet sadly, this is the way most so-called relationships work in society these days. Love Essay 16. People want to feel comfortable enough with someone to be themselves. Great lovers know what's going on in the lives of their lovers. They feel them, they know what they're thinking and sympathize with their plights. In essence, a relationship is all about now, not your future dreams, but living together right now, each of you caught in your own lives trying to mix it in with your lover's life. For two people to be in love, they have to be friends and share their lives together. Be kind to each other. Don't keep score. Don't criticize your spouse much. When you're nagging, see yourself as the bad one. Don't use them as the scapegoat for your problems in your own life. Talk on their level in their comfort zone. The love affair will fade a bit, but if it's love, it shouldn't fade by much. You will know for sure if the second anniversary is lukewarm and soppy. 2 years is the magic time. If you're still in love, then you're almost there. Try to touch, kiss, and love each other. Try not to criticize or complain. You should feel like you belong together and not worry about it. People not really in love are very insecure, wondering if this is the right person. Work together as a team to love each other and resolve conflicts. Think twice before you start discounting your partner as inferior goods. Be passionate. Don't hold on to grudges. Try to have fun and laugh. A great family is based on a great marriage. When you love your spouse, your kids follow in the love process. The man must be the provider and sensitive, the woman, the caregiver of the house. Don't embarrass your partner or put them on the spot. Even if you're tired after work, be sociable. Be a dignified, noble person. Your partner is not a mind reader. Tell her what you're thinking. Don't give your partner tough ultimatums. They might call your bluff. There are no steps, no right or wrong way, it's a constant intuitive love and nurturing, or the opposite, indifference and outright hate. Programs, books, and therapies can't help much. This book might give you a shot of inspiration, but that's all it can do, make you consciously try harder. Everything else is up to you and your situation, plus the dynamics of your wife. Is she a willing player, or is she so turned off that it's spiritually over? Often two flawed people are good for each other because they know their spouse won't cheat because she's too ugly and pathetic for anyone to want her, so they stay together for comfort's sake. But if you get two highly accomplished and beautiful people marrying, they're both good, they know it, people out there are attracted to them, so it could be tougher for two beautiful people to love each other because they're always being tempted to stray. Don't compare your marriage to your brother's, friends, or parents' marriages. Accept your marriage as a unique unit. Kids will kill your intimacy factor by at least 25%. Get ready for it. Don't have kids unless you're ready to pay the price of less freedom. Learn to read each other for the flow and respond appropriately. Disconnected couples don't read each other properly or just don't care anymore. It's not that they don't have sex, they don't even talk about things that matter. They stay because they think the alternative is tougher, being single and trying to find a new lover in the sea of madness out there. My rule in love is that if it ain't hot right up front, don't do it and assume it will get better, because it won't. Love is not just sex, it's love and romance. It's honesty, openness, vulnerability, and stating nobly that you want to be with her as one, a fusion of passion, of unspoken knowledge as a unit. It's touching, intimacy and hot sex, but it's not just emotion, It's a stable commitment and effort to care deeply about someone because you want to complete yourself in the process as a full human being. See bonding as two intelligent people who love each other, but attachment as one or two lost souls clinging to each other because they don't have stability within. Even among the most intensely loving couples, love isn't guaranteed to last forever. Things can happen. Don't assume a great year together stays great. If you don't keep on keeping it great, it slowly withers until it can die very easily, but if there's one inkling of a spark, it always has the potential to be rekindled. As human beings, we are all flawed and selfish. You will screw up and be selfish with your lover. The best thing to do is to admit it, apologize and move on with the relationship, or be a sniveling wimp, deny and let it die a bit more day by day. Love is subordinating your selfish self for someone else. If you can't do it, don't waste your time getting married. If you marry someone, I presume it's because you love them and want to be with them, so don't spend all your time away from home doing whatever it is you do away from the house. When you stop placing conditions on love, you move forward in the understanding and experience of real love. When you cease to desire for yourself and make other people's happiness your happiness, you're one of the few truly loving people on the path to sainthood. Love isn't love till you give it away. You don't find love or wait until it hits you in the head. You create it for yourself by living a joyous, active life every single day, both for yourself and the people around you. If you really love someone but there's tension there, give it an honest shot before you break it off. Love Essays 17. Everybody needs buttering up sometimes. Whoso loves believes in the impossible. Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Here is the life cycle of love in a nutshell. Newlyweds continue to date just like before and don't get too caught up with work. First there is the honeymoon period, which gives way to the reality of day-to-day life after about 6 months. Work on the transition from wildly passionate to day-to-day love. That's when the problems start. Each sees everything about the other, even their trivial, annoying habits. The high expectations fade. Many people get married without much thought about it or preparation, hence a 50% divorce rate within 3 years. Check out some of these questions for a reality check. Is he grouchy in the morning? At night? Always? Does he hog the bed? Does he go off on his own much and leave you hanging? Does she hog the phone? Does he make a mess in the bathroom? Does he eat and make a mess in bed? Does he snore? How bad? Does he sit around at night unable to sleep? Is he moody? What about sex? Babies? More talk, more romance, father help with housework. Less freedom and intimacy as you have to take care of those little bundles of joy. The husband must recognize that his wife is now a mother and she must make an effort to be sexy with him. Instead of each retreating into your own worlds, you should talk more. Father help with the housework and make time for romance. Middle age. Still fuel in the fire. Give it another shot for romance. You have time to breathe now that the kids are teenagers, but perhaps you've forgotten how to date or what to talk about. Time to renew that old spark and relive the earlier days of your courtship way back when. This period is critical. You can either slip into your final complacency or give it another shot for romance. Buy a Stairmaster and use it. Get young again. Start listening to your old songs again and doing it just like before. Alone again. Keep the love alive. You're wiser now with some money since the kids left home. Go for it, try new things and continue to love each other. In the end, don't look for love or be a selective lover to only your few select family and friends. Be love in the spiritual sense to everybody on the planet, even the negative, hating people. Love Essays 18. Think of romantic love as a drug like cocaine. It feels great for the first little while, then it loses its luster, but you keep taking more and more just to try to get that good initial feeling again, but you never seem to, so you look for other drugs to find that feeling again. Love is nice when we first meet someone, but it usually wears off even though we try to rekindle it with all kinds of gimmicks like gifts, vacations, whipped cream, etc. But then we get tired of the same person and seek a love fix from a new person who we perceive to be exciting until he or she gets dull. Very few people are totally irresistible over the entire course of the lifetime run unless you're a pure soul who really works at it. Many if not most people converge to a frumpy, carnal food materialistic centered lifestyle as they're brainwashed by the standard version of the American dream, which gives off the vibe that you're boring, nerdy and sexually repulsive. So if you want love, you'd better be damn well aware that you'd better do your damnedest to stay a frisky, vital, happy, peaceful person until the day you die, otherwise your lover will grow to see you as a dud and turn off. This is the reality of life for most couples a little while after the marriage, as they take on a work-eat-spend lifestyle and lose their souls to material comfort. Love is a lifelong vigilance to yourself as a fine specimen of human being, because you love yourself and your flame so much that you want to honor her by being as great a person as you can be. You have to be both a steady rock and a chameleon-like vivacious babe/stud, at least in spirit if not in body also. The same works in the search for love. Many men and women alike give up on the search after the age of 40 because they've given up on themselves, accepting themselves for the middle-aged duds they've become, when they don't realize that they can change through effort and hard work and easily get younger and attract someone. You have to compromise and let go of the pet peeves that really bug you about her. Just forget about it. It's trivial in the grand scheme of things. Take love lightly, have fun, don't try to make it too perfect. It's always about trust. Concentrate on his good points and forget the bad points. Don't have a TV in the bedroom if you want to have interaction with each other. Treat each other with gentle, tender love. Love is mostly a spiritual connection where you feel a mystical kindred spirit type of attraction to someone, followed by a physical connection where you have to touch and be close in order to consummate your feelings. Then comes the mental connection, which is achieved by talking, although I feel a couple really in love doesn't even need this much because they always have an intuitive sense of each other in silence without even uttering a single word. The objective of life is presumably happiness, hence, you should live for it. If you're happy in your own life and identity as an individual, it should rub off into your love life. Two people in love with their own lives and in love with each other can have a great life if they so desire. You just have to decide to share your happiness. When you share it, be warm, fuzzy, non-judgmental, have an easy nature about yourself, accept them for who they are, give them their own space, don't try to change them, respect what they do, be their anchor, make them feel safe and comfortable with you, honor them, make small talk every day, praise your lover, talk about things that matter, don't criticize, thank them and strive for that deep, real connection. That's it right there. If you got it, you will know it, you will feel the love whenever you're together. What you have at any one moment is temporal. Think of your life. You're not all powerful all the time. You have moments of weakness, loss of self and fatigue. Love goes through the exact same things. Love will come and go with the cycles of the marriage. You must realize that time is precious and finite. Your time is now, the present. You must make it count as much as you can all the time. That's the way to live life, and if you want your love to work, you will love each other to death every single minute of every single day, whether you're with each other or apart. It's not enough to make a great start, it's how you finish. Do you see yourself together as old people in 30 years or so? The next thing is gut instinct. Everyone knows intuitively when something's off within themselves or when their loved ones aren't being so loving, so the point is to nip it in the bud. Ask yourself, where are you now in the relationship, where do you want to be, and how do you get there? Don't argue, just talk. Perfection doesn't exist. Grind it out, keep trying, keep learning about love. If you feel something's wrong, get on it right away. Either be extra nice to her, or if it persists, get it out into the open by just saying, "We gotta talk." Look inside yourself for your own shortcomings. Sometimes people are so caught up in themselves that they're insensitive to what they're doing to others. Slow down. Oftentimes, jerks don't know they're being jerks. Are you being a jerk? Do you feel tension among friends who are often too kind to say something to you about what a jerk you are? Change. It's not that hard. Just start being nice. There are expectations and reality, and very rarely do the two ever meet, so the point is to accept the fact that nothing's perfect, and more than likely, nothing will turn out exactly the way you plan it, so take it cool. Accept what comes and make the best of it. You're not the only one in the equation. You can't put your lover in a box. He or she's got his or her own life and own pursuits for happiness too. Don't cross over his or her personal boundaries. Help her become the person she wants to be. Respect her and don't take her for granted. Conversely, don't expect your lover to be everything to you. You gotta have your own life and do for yourself. In other words, don't overcommit or be dependent on anyone but yourself, even if you are in love. A big problem is the blame game. Be responsible for your own actions and never ever blame your spouse for anything. If something's wrong, do whatever's in your power to make it right without blaming or alienating your spouse. Gentleness always brings more love than toughness. It's basic human nature. Unless you're living with a poison person, then get rid of them. If there are past baggage issues between a couple, choose to forget about them and move on. The number one reason that people break up is that they let little things go unresolved. Then the anger builds up until the walls and the alienation are so thick, it's like there's too much water under the bridge. Neither side has the humility to give in and give it an honest shot. If you ever find yourself angry at your spouse, try not to get blanket angry at them. Zone in on exactly what it is that they did to make you angry. Talk to them about it if you want, or just grieve about it in your mind and get it out of your system. Try to understand why they did it, then release them or forgive them, either in your own mind or straight up. Then try to get back on a real level with them, or just go out and do something frivolous together to remember that life isn't that serious. You can find a silver lining in every cloud if you're willing to look for it. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Everything's a learning experience. Lighten up and enjoy life. Watch your voice. It speaks volumes about your mood. When you're mad, you speak loudly and harshly. I've found that speaking gently with a soft voice always calms everybody down. Speak as quietly and gently as possible. Sometimes talk is overrated. Instead of a deep heart-to-heart in stilted conditions like "we gotta talk now," it might be better to just go out and do something together, like a drive and a walk on the beach. Then you will be in a better frame of mind and the talk will come naturally in a better setting where things don't seem so deep and serious. Or just hug. The point is, don't take things too seriously. Everybody's different, some more different than others. If your partner seems to be being a real jerk, it may be that they're not intentionally trying to spite you. It may be because they're different than you. Try to understand them before you jump the gun and jump to conclusions. Try to understand what makes your partner tick, what they want out of life, and try to please them. Women have female needs related to menstruation. They get premenstrual syndrome, PMS. Understand it and make allowances. Life tests everybody. Nobody goes through unscathed unless they're very, very lucky. Prepare for the storm now so that when it comes, you will be ready for it. Conflict is inevitable. When it happens, have the sense to realize that it ain't nothing but a thing in the grand scheme of things. Your love is more important than a little spat. Dig to find out what the real issue is. Stick to it. Don't dredge up the past. Avoid sarcasm. Avoid the silent treatment. Don't try to win, because in love, you both should be winners. Know how to apologize and forgive. Don't cross the point of no return where you get so down and dirty that your partner will never fully forgive you. For me, one of the best formulas for a great love affair is time alone. Have a spare bedroom or a place in the house where each can go if you want to be alone and the other will know to leave you alone. This is very important. Oftentimes, a little while alone will center someone who feels distracted and down. Love Essays 19. She's Too Fat for Me. Polka song. In my opinion, beyond respect and separate bathrooms, The next most important factor in any relationship is to give the other person space. It's got nothing to do with you. A man wants to be alone for a while when he gets home from work to take it easy and rest hassle-free. Men are basically loners who have to go out and fight to get their piece of the American dream. Understand that about every man. His job in his mind is to be the breadwinner, so that's where his head's usually at. He loves you but just doesn't show it outwardly much. The reason I don't want to be with a girl all the time is because I'm basically a free spirit who lives in a battle with the inner standard of my soul. I have a life, a code, a way I live which is all about me away from everybody else on the planet. A lot of girls don't realize that a lot of guys live by inner codes. They have to do things to stay true to themselves and to center themselves. All guys have this private fantasy life in their minds where they're cool dudes. Your job as a woman is to give your guy space so that he can play out whatever's on his mind, so he feels good, then comes out to you of his own free will because he feels lonely again. This is good. Let the guy have his own space and come to you when he feels ready. When I go out to go through my paces and then when I come back home and walk in the door, I may be tired and there's something always on my mind, namely what I'm going to do next, so I don't want anybody in my face asking me stupid questions about how my day was or telling me we just got the electric bill and it was high. I want total peace until I sit down, take a shower, then lay around for a while to recuperate. When I'm ready, I will call my babe over and be nice to her because I'm ready, not the way I am when I first walk in the door. Burn this ritual into your memory because all men live this way. They want peace when they come home. Solitude is the vehicle by which a person can reflect on life, think things through, make decisions, rest, recharge the batteries and prepare for the next course of action to become a better person. Instead of all the guff about talking things out, get away from each other for a while to get your centers back. Both people should be individuals within and of themselves, independent and autonomous if need be. Too many women expect the husband to take care of them and end up going through hell later when he gets tired of his fat wife taking the free ride watching her soap operas and divorces her, leaving her out in the cold. Many housewives develop a kind of agoraphobia, a fear and loss of a connection with the outside world, so they become totally dependent on the man and his paycheck, and he abuses this power he has over them. Some women become dependent on the man's approval. It's nice to love and be loved, but it's powerful to know that you can make it on your own if need be, so the moral to the story is ask your man for help in the practical things of life, but don't be a lost, helpless kid about it. Plain and simple, the easiest rule is simply basic acceptance. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has their own quirks, plus our culture has made us follow certain gender behaviors which may seem trivial to your partner. The guy may not understand why the girl spends so much time on her makeup and hair, while the girl may not understand why the guy likes to tinker on his hobby, whatever it may be. Even though it seems kind of stupid to you, keep your mouth shut and let them do their thing. Many marital problems are not really marital at all. They're individual. An individual has some deep-rooted problem and this causes his or her inability to love the partner fully, so if you're having problems, check yourself and your partner to see that it's not either of you as messed up, dysfunctional individuals rather than the relationship itself. If you want to be a cool husband or wife, strive for a seldom used word in the English language called poise and round it off with a healthy dose of peace of mind. I can't let the crap occupy space in my head and wear it down by worrying about it. Such should be the case in your relationship with your love interest. Nothing should matter except for the way you two are relating at any particular moment, and the important thing is that you must not build a wall within your ego that prevents you from tearing it down and reaching out to your wife. Another ego thing is the dumping complex. You get dumped at work all day, you're feeling down, so you go home and dump on someone who won't give you much hassle, who deserves to be dumped on because you're paying the bill, so you dump on your wife to make yourself feel better. It comes back to that ego thing. You have to be humble, to break the pride within. Very plainly, many problems arise out of a clash of egos. Two partners get mad at each other, put up the walls, retreat into their own worlds and go off into different directions, subconsciously or consciously trying to hurt and alienate the other in the process. A major cause of problems in relationships is the inability or not ability to share deep, innermost feelings, because by exposing oneself you create vulnerabilities, and that makes you feel maybe indebted to the other person or feeling vulnerable such that they can turn it around on you and laugh at you and ridicule you at some later point when the tables turn and the relationship sours. Related to sharing feelings is simply emotional withdrawal. Often, one or the other, and it's not necessarily the man, just gets fed up with the other and shuts off like a switch. When this happens, watch out. The relationship is doomed if you don't get on it real quick. As kids, we used to call it the silent treatment, where you stop paying attention to a friend except for lip service to punish them for something they've done. Beware of your partner going into an emotional withdrawal state, and if he or she does so, do something about it right away or get ready for divorce court. Have a willingness to grow and change. Work to make love flow easily between the two of you. Make it automatic, love between friends. Share your thoughts and feelings with each other. Love Essays 20. Me plus you equals we. It takes two to make a marriage, one to get a divorce. A happy marriage is to find out your partner's deepest needs and try to satisfy them. Love is putting up with the other person's crap and idiosyncrasies. Accept the fact that intimacy comes and goes. You have to work at it all the time. Know when to talk and when to be silent. Forgive the little things before they grow into big things. Little things have a way of blowing up. Who cares if she burnt the stupid turkey or if he forget the coffee? If that's your only problem, you got it made. Love conquers all. Love through thick and thin. Be mature enough to know that for every dark winter, there's a spring, a magical time of rejuvenation and hope when love is in the air. So regardless of your love status now, take heart. There will always be a spring right around the corner if you want it and you're willing to work at it. Talk is important, but so is quiet time together. Some men feel they don't need much talk, especially if you two feel comfortable together. Be there for each other. Listen. Don't criticize the other for trivial things. And don't tell a man he's weak if he reveals his weaknesses and fears to you. In order to open up, a man has to feel emotionally safe, so you have to create that for him. The real solution rests on your desire for happiness and a sense of fair play with your loved ones. Humility and compassion blended with love and understanding form the mix for the real deal. The biggest rule of all is simply to listen when your partner speaks. My parents were farm-type people who came over from Poland after the war. They liked to do things with their hands. I can never forget my memories of them puttering around in the backyard in the garden together. This has a unifying effect on people, to do things together like build a patio, mow the lawn, clean the attic out, can a bunch of vegetables, paint a room together or something. If there's a small disagreement, either ignore it or confront it to clear it. Don't let it fester and get overrated. I believe that true love is two people who constantly talk to each other in an open, relaxed, truthful way in order to be good friends. Don't blame each other, just try to love each other. Express both your love and hurt to each other all the time. Write letters if you have to, love letters and anger letters, telling each other how you feel, then talking about it. As long as you can come to an understanding, forgiveness, and appreciation of each other, you can go on as a worthy couple with some love left in there. Talk like two intelligent people in love. Don't argue for argument's sake. If you're one of those couples who are addicted to arguing, making up and making love, try to break out of it because it's not really a happy relationship. Don't get angry or hysterical. If you do, cool off a bit. Don't swear or call names. Keep the argument in private away from other people. See the conflict as the doorway to intimacy. It reveals feelings and needs in the relationship. Get it out in the open, resolve it, then make mad, passionate love. I believe that all of us, except for psychopaths, want love and want to give it back. Whatever turmoil lives within you, you can eliminate it all with a new beginning and a new love of life. If you open yourself up to love others, they will love you back regardless of whatever happened in your past. You just have to be there for them. Be a friend. It's a continuous process, you keep doing it and working at it, although it shouldn't have to take a lot of work. It should be an easygoing, happy, loving kinda thing where you enjoy being with each other and doing for each other, not necessarily working at it, although that may be necessary sometimes but hopefully very seldom. The simplest and most important rule of love is just to be there, rain or shine, as a quiet friend willing to listen. Finally, no matter what problems you may be having now, if you can get over them to reach for true love, you can have it, and all the crap from the past will be forgotten. It's never too late. In John 15:13 it says, "Greater love has no one than this, that he lay down his life for his friends." This is a highly honorable, heroic type of love. Think like this when you love your spouse. Love her so much that you will do anything for her. If you find it difficult to love certain people, pretend to. Act like you love them. Practice it, work at it just like you work on getting better at other things in life. It will help develop a higher reverence for life and make you more loving in the long run. Try to be easygoing. Love is cultured in a state of ease and laughter. True love is a continuous life-giving presence that strengthens us all and makes us more loving. One act of kindness leads to another, and so on and so forth. It's easy to be loving when your life is going peachy cream and the sun is smiling at you, but when things aren't going your way, you're stressed, angry and tired. That's the true test to see how loving you really are. When others treat you less than loving is the second test. Do you snap back at them and treat hate with hate, or do you love them just the same because you know that right at that moment they need your love more than they need your snide remarks? Love Essays 21. The moderns, men and women of passion, expect irresistible love to produce some revelation either regarding themselves or about life at large. This is a last vestige of primitive mysticism. Passion is everywhere treated as an experience, something that will alter my life and enrich it with the unexpected, with thrilling chances and with enjoyment ever more violent and gratifying. Dennis de Rougemont, Love in the Western World. The prevailing ideology is that the woman is born and bred for love while the man is born and bred for success in the world. The truth is that neither is true. Women should strive for success/achievement and not focus on love at the exclusion of everything else, while men should get away from the obsession with being successful long enough to try to be loving and spend quality time with their families. It's such a simple rule, to live out both love and success in a fluid mixture of moderation, yet why are most of us still one-dimensional? You can create your own life being true to yourself. You don't have to live by your sex role stereotype. True success is unleashing the spiritual flowing energy that lives inside of you. When you live like this, you love your life and you will be a better lover to others. If your job/career/business is not inherent to your soul, the inner spiritual energy inside of you, you will always be stressed out, feel somewhat empty and never know true harmony within, therefore never be a great lover. So find the power in your soul, use it wisely to help your fellow man and earn your keep in the process, and this will give you an inner harmony, so you will naturally be a loving person without trying to force it due to the stress of work that's not the real you. Mastery of life is to do soulful pursuits you love to do both as work and recreation, and share them with the people you love greatly in order to live a glorious life. Live courageously for what you believe in. Don't be a wimp about it. The dictionary defines love as adoration, amour, devotion, eros, infatuation, passion, veneration, esteem, philos, regard, respect, agape, altruism, charity, kindness. Nobility is defined as dignity, honor, integrity and virtue. Chivalry is defined as courtesy, courtliness, and gallantry. Gallantry is defined as heroism, courage, valor, and bravery. Love is simply a nice, soft feeling for someone because you either like them for being them, or you feel there's something special, unique, and magical about them, or both. Beyond sexual expression, for men, love means mostly being the provider and the protector. For women, it's the emotional connection. True love is both, each person having the freedom within to let out all their entire range of emotions and actions with no repression whatsoever. It's called androgyny and it's really the way to be, gentle, sensitive, tough, and practical all at the same time. Life is emotion, so love is emotion. Everything comes down to emotion, what you feel at any moment by yourself or with your love pie and what you feel the first time you see him or her, so the trick is to find someone who sends an intense lightning bolt to your soul with that first look and then a good, happy tingle to the inside of you whenever you're with them or thinking about them. It's all ultimately about one thing only, the extent to which you intuitively feel a sense of emotional warmth coming from a person at any instant in time and, of course, the extent to which you're intuitively emotionally warm to them. It's like a strong soft feeling, the way you feel when you hug a little puppy dog. You can't help but feel love for a cuddly dog every time you look at one because they're so innocent and natural. This is the feeling you want to get from your lover just by looking at her. Some people seem to have great, easy-flowing love affairs, but then the question is, if you get it with somebody, how long can you keep it for? Life seems to take its cut. Love seems like a highly elastic phenomena. You're always going through different intensities and stages of love with your partner. It's always an up and down thing, sometimes hot, sometimes cold, not necessarily through any fault of the relationship, but as the introspective individual that I am, I've come to realize that love is directly proportional to the amount of control and happiness you feel personally in your own life as an autonomous individual seeking fulfillment by yourself. If I'm in my groove, I'm a great lover, but if I'm distracted by the stress of the world, I don't want anyone around me, especially my love pie, and because I want to be alone so she doesn't see me in my moment of weakness. I may subconsciously push her away, which she interprets as lack of love, while the truth is that it's all my fault for being so into myself that I push her away. The love of ourselves is necessarily the highest love by the law of self-preservation. I've come to think that only people who love themselves highly have the capacity for true strong love. The base to any great love affair is two individuals who love themselves first enough to want to reach out and get what they can out of the spirit of life in its entirety, and this often includes love as the highest ideal right after a person finds and then nurtures their identities to feel comfortable within themselves. Fantasy love is great for our minds, but real love is trying to make these fantasies come true in real life with a real live other human being, which can be tough because it often implies giving up some of your freedom, which is tough for a lot of people. But if you truly love someone, you want to do things for them because it makes you happy. If we can reach a point where we love and care for our partners as much as we care for ourselves, we win the game of love. If you can't do this, it's not total love. Consider this as a quick test of love, the extent to which you can be selfless and generous with your partner, particularly with your time. Love is two people totally happy and comfortable with each other exactly as they really are. They develop a radar with each other, a kind of invisible sixth sense. Each knows what the other is thinking, two hearts in one. In its chivalrous sense, true love is the willingness to lay your life down for your love object. In its passionate form, it's the desire to want to meld right into them because you love them so much. In its casual form, it's the easy breezy feeling of being with them close in comfortable silence, perfectly happy where you are just being together. In its pragmatic form, it's the desire to make them happy with corny, mundane actions. In its selfish form, it's what they can do for you materially. In its purest form, it's how you make each other feel. You want to see her happy because it makes you happy. Although love is a deep, internal, near unconditional feeling, it's also a lifelong popularity contest. Just like life is a battle with the internal standard of your soul, I've found that true love is a battle with having enough self-respect for yourself that you want to be the best person you can be for your flame. It all comes down to a feeling of electrically charged specialness when you're around him or her. You feel like smiling at her and feel good around her because you really, really love her for her. Other than a few other things that we might enjoy due to our selfish, carnal natures, true love is probably the most transcendent feeling in the world. That's where the real magic is in life. It could be fleeting because the initial magic may give way to everyday drudgery as the enchantment of getting to know each other wears off, but it doesn't have to. There are couples who always enjoy each other and have a lot of fun throughout their lives. Love Essays 22. Anyone loving must be proud of himself first to be able to love, because the human race is full of misery and hate. It's easy to be a hater, hard to be a lover. Love is wonderful but mysterious. You go beyond yourself when you feel your heart pumping for someone. Two people submit themselves to the glory of a loving relationship. Relationship is a connection of love. Put your marriage first. Don't be too much of a workaholic or promotion hungry. The modern world has taken away the need for a family to work with each other to survive in the world like the pioneers of old had to do, and this extends into the need for love because we have all kinds of opportunities for partial intimacy with friends, lovers, pets, TV characters, phone sex, internet, etc. Tradition may be gone, but the desire and need for love is still there, and even though we have the substitutes that can fill us up for a while, most of us still dream of a fairy tale love for ourselves, especially girls, a lot of whom think a prince will rescue them from the crap of life and take care of them. I'd say the roles have changed somewhat. The traditional breadwinner housewife thing doesn't work much anymore. All human beings, men and women alike, should make it a point to develop themselves and get financially stable by themselves for themselves, regardless of the state of their love affairs. This is the only way to be a complete human being, dependent on no one but yourself. Then you can pursue love without ulterior motives for the pure simple beauty it is. Routine destroys marriages. Do things together. Make some of them novel and new. Assume your partner's household responsibilities as a way to show love. Make a real romantic date. Kiss each other slowly. Enjoy each other. Talk about your problems. Your spouse can't read your mind. Have fun together. Women should make it out in the workforce, but never ever lose your feminine softness if you want your love life to thrive. By the same token, men shouldn't see women as servants and see them as equal partners in everything. Love is all about relaxation and cooperation. If you don't feel like pursuing monogamous love but feel pressured to seek out marriage by society, follow your soul above all else. Only pursue love if it feels right, if the timing is right for you, and if you've met the right guy or gal. We all still have great expectations, so you should work on yourself and bide your time until you feel ready to consummate those expectations. Women shouldn't be content with just the domestic housewife role. You should try to develop your own identity, both for yourself as a person and to be a better lover overall, because by knowing yourself, you feel good and confident about life. It doesn't matter what the externals are in any love affair, the bottom line is always the same: is there a strong, passionate, active love connection between the two of you? That's all that ever really matters. Do you really love each other no matter what? If you do, you can withstand anything from being apart for months because of work obligations to being there when one gets a terminal disease. True love is rare but happens to some people, and when it does, it's one of the greatest things you can ever have in life, a true simple pure love affair. Just think of that, keep it simple. That's the purpose of this article. Focus on that strong loving connection with each other. Share and share alike and help each other with the mundane things like housework. Attitude is everything. Be loving through the mundane and tough times, and it will be sweeter when the going gets good again. Don't try to be a super person for you, do it for the love of your life. Put your ego away, especially if you want to lovingly raise children and pursue a loving relationship with your spouse all at the same time. Do less extracurricular activities outside the home. Focus on your family and love life as your main purpose in life. The love, sex, and romance must never stop, especially when you have kids, otherwise you will eventually degenerate into a sexless family focusing on the kids at the expense of romance. You have to love your kids but balance them out with your own personal love life with your spouse. Your spouse will find out everything about you, all your little habits, both good and bad. What was once cute might get on her nerves after a while. Marriage is a game where two self-centered people continue to be self-centered but now occasionally delve into each other's lives when they feel lonely. There's only so close two people can fit together. Try number 158 or HM 1106 at the library for books about interpersonal relationships. Love Essays 23. Don't force others to love you. Love and you will be loved. In its most romantic, spiritual sense, love is that feeling of totally sharing your life with someone else. It's all about nurturing someone and taking care of them. It's being there at night to hold them close, to take away that lonely feeling that we all feel merely by being human, i.e. existential loneliness, refer to later section. Any true romantic couple I've ever seen was always close, physically penetrating the invisible 18-inch barrier that we all have around ourselves. They sat next to each other while watching TV and laid around with each other a lot, not necessarily to have sex, just to be skin to skin close. It's very difficult to totally share your life with anyone else, and even if you do, it's very difficult to keep it up. Hence, most of us have fleeting sensations of connectedness and intimacy, then it's gone and we're left with this dull, empty feeling again. Some of us descend down into the deep, black hole of loneliness and do all kinds of crazy things to try to get rid of that yucky feeling. In a nutshell, love is opening yourself up completely to the other person in the belief and hope that they're like you and they will love and understand you for who you are, warts and all. The whole secret is that you want someone to really know you, to love you for you, and you want to give it back all the way unconditionally. It's the beginning of a mutual explorative journey of the discovery of another human being, probably one of the most exciting things you can ever experience in life, getting to know each other while falling in love. It's a drama playing out where two people become greater, fuller loving human beings than they could have ever been alone. We all fear revealing our true, inner selves to our lovers. If you don't, you lose. If you do, the right one will stay, the others will leave. This is why it's very important not to be phony on a first date. Be yourself. You will feel it. If the other person likes you, then you will know immediately. It's all about two people helping each other live glorious lives. You become each other's centers in life. It's a deep thing way beyond the superficial crap of day-to-day life, where two people can relate and commit to each other on a real heavy, spiritual level. When you give of yourself, you're not being smothered, you're adding to some intangible chemistry between two people that's greater than yourself. You have your own separate identities, but you each add to it by sharing yourselves with each other. It's kind of like the us-we relationship. I'm not you and you're not me. We are ourselves connected in a distinct way. We don't try to change each other or even be like each other. We just love each other for who we are. That's the best you can ever expect to do. Don't expect to find someone who's like your second skin. You may find someone that matches almost exactly, but it's very rare and there will always be differences. A totally agreeable true soulmate would be nice, but not very likely in the real world. A loving person is a lover all the time, of all things. There's only one door to love. You either love life and love, or you don't. You don't just claim to love one person and hate everything else about life. You gotta be a lover of life. It's not what you can get out of the relationship, but what you bring into it and how hard you try to keep what you have together going all the time. It's a state of readiness, a state of givingness. It's not how much they can please you and solve your problems, it's how much joy you get out of pleasing them. Love is never completely satisfied or fulfilled. It's always there waiting to be expressed and filled. Love is a work in progress, just like life is. Think of it as an unpainted canvas day after day. The second you take your love for granted is the second it's spiritually over. You can get it back, but it takes work. I've developed a philosophy of life based on a cyclic renewal for the sanctity of my soul. It's the same with love, it has to be fed and renewed all the time. At its best, love is a spiritual union between two people who are strongly attracted to each other, for lack of a better term, via some irresistible, primitive force I call the biological imperative. They want to touch each other, be with each other, love each other and look into each other's eyes all day long. They feel like two hearts in one, frisky, alive, acting like a couple of little school kids regardless of age. It's like an aesthetic vision of two lovers walking into a glorious sunset on the beach with a great love song as the background audio. For the few times I've been in love, I felt like a magnet, like I wanted to press right into my cutie and just stand there as close into her body as I could get to meld right into her. It's this irresistible animal attraction that makes you know it's real. Some people, for whatever reason, have hang-ups and negative feelings about the opposite sex. Some men hate women and vice versa. It may be rooted back to early behavior by your parents or your perception of how society treats your sex. These hang-ups can really screw up your love life if you let them. Act loving even if you don't feel like it on a particular day. After a while, it will all merge together, the acting and the real passion. Make a pact to kiss each other every day right after meeting after work, then share special time together like walk the dog or just hug and make love. Think action. If you ain't got the guts to initiate, get them. You gotta make her feel special and make her day every day. Dance, hug, talk, touch, and screw every day. Live for the impulse of love and lust. Do things to make you both laugh out loud together. Chill out, it's only life, only time. You will be dead someday, so do it now. In the end, love will be all that will have mattered. Have fun. Fool around. Don't let fear of opening up or looking foolish to your lover cramp your style with her. Love comes from risk. You gotta risk your fear of rejection and take initiative if you want love to flourish. If you can't count your lucky stars about how great your lover is, you're with the wrong person. Sincere compliments are the way to anyone's heart. Many couples simply float off into separate lives under the same roof. There are no excuses. It's all up to you should you so desire. Have patience. Think before you speak harshly. You don't possess her. She's there because she wants to be. Show gratitude for the nice things he does for you. Be thankful for your life. Ambition is endless slavery. It's wrong. Doing a good job is fine, but when it becomes obsessive, your real life suffers. There's no steady state in marriage. It's always changing with new obligations to go along with it. Love should not be work. It should be a magnetic, fluid, warm melding of two souls into one. In love, there's no such thing as control. You do for the other because you want to and enjoy it. There's no pressure there and no mental fighting for any control. It's a partnership. Whatever happens, don't ever take things too deeply. There shouldn't be anything out there to stop you from getting off the treadmill and doing something nice and easygoing as a couple to bring you back to the right perspective. Life is just time. Whether you're 30, 40, or 50, every day's a new day. You can always start fresh. It's all up to you. Don't get caught up in games and hang-ups. If you get tired, get away from each other for a little while, then come back and see how you feel. If you still feel tired of your spouse, either try to spice it up or consider dissolving it. I don't believe in beating a dead horse. If it's gone, it's gone. Don't stay in a loveless marriage. Love Essays 24. All relationships are based on the untested hope that the two of you will live out a glorious future together as one. The unknown X factors are what will the future bring, and will either of you change in a negative way to disrupt the relationship. Hope and good intentions are all you really have to love one another and grow to be dependent on him or her for comfort, safety, and affection. The conflict of love is our identities as individuals versus the interdependence of a relationship. There's always give and take on both sides. Life is a fine balancing of these two extremes, you alone as an individual pursuing what you want versus subordinating some of yourself for the love of your life to fill that void that you by yourself can't fill. The ideal is to have both. Culture a strong sense of identity to know who you are, and this should give you the wisdom to know you want love to fulfill you, so you give a strong, worthy effort to it over and above following your own identity for you. A good marriage will probably be a sacrifice of some of your deepest heroic, swashbuckling adventurous desires. A good marriage shuts out a great deal, which means you must approach it with your eyes half shut. Don't take anything too seriously. Don't criticize your spouse too harshly, and perhaps most importantly, don't take yourself too seriously. You have to develop the ability to live for the spirit of love, Forgo all the trivial things and especially keep your mouth shut when you feel you're sacrificing your goals and dreams for the relationship. Remember, you're the one who signed up for it. You have to be ready to accept all consequences, including the fact that you gave up your adventurous quest for the security of love, so make sure that's what you really want before you do it. And if you don't think love is worth your freewheeling, free-spirited adventures, don't fall for it like George Bailey did in the movie It's a Wonderful Life. Nobody forced you. You should go in with a willing heart, which is why I believe no one should marry until they've got the bulk of their mythical hero's journey out of their systems. And if you feel love by itself in a relationship is enough to keep you busy, don't go having kids to add to the burden. This need for freedom to live your own life is a very real need, and some people need it more than they need love, so check yourself out to see where you really stand on the matter. In any relationship, be vigilant about your two separate identities, you alone and you in a dependent relationship with someone else. Know exactly where you end and your relationship with your lover starts. Some people, especially women, get so dependent on their husbands they don't have their own identities anymore. Be very wary if you find yourself slipping away, losing your own individual identity. Always strive to keep a balance of the two. Many people give up on love after the first marriage fails. It's your option to do whatever you want. If you want a relationship, try to develop the attitude to live it from within yourself, not just from your superficial exterior. Try to feel your partner, sense him or her through your eyes and other intuitive senses. Let the love flow naturally out of each of you into the other. Real love comes from enlightened soul connected to enlightened soul, not the romance garbage we collectively gleaned from romantic movies while we were growing up about some starry-eyed moment of infatuation, because true love is a deeper, more sustaining type of concern for another human being, worked at and developed over time, unceasingly day after day. Love takes a lot of energy, but if you've got a good individual identity and are willing to expend this energy, you should get what you want out of the deal and it will be worth it. Love Essays 25. Be kind, live by the spiritual code of love. When it comes to love, there are three critical questions to ask yourself. Are you loving? Are you loved? Are you lovable? Look at yourself as a soul. Only by being yourself purely and freely to reach a connection to your soul can you be fulfilled. If you pursue love without the state of affairs within yourself, it's for less than a perfect reason to fulfill some emptiness and deficiency within yourself. But true love is two souls in one, two souls that feel fulfilled by themselves within themselves and simply want to spread it around and share it with a like-minded soulmate equal. Some people argue that love is the purpose of life, not soul, individual identity, or the pursuit of hedonism. According to some, a mature self-actualized soul seeks love to share their spirits with, which is supposedly what life is lived for. According to some dreamy New Age love types, that love is naturally what we all want and we can have it all, that power of love to heal us, strengthen us, renew us, inspire us, and bring us closer to our loved ones and our gods. Even though all this sounds dreamy and good, I've never felt it this deep. I feel more like a cavalier soul living for my own whims and pleasures, but this is the gist of a New Age love guru's chants who I saw on TV. It all sounds nice, but I wonder how realistic is it as opposed to an ethereal fantasy created by this guru to inspire people for a moment, but then when they get home, they see reality as a pragmatic concern minute by minute, day by day, not these dreamy notions of love that seem so abstract I can't relate to them. The line of reasoning is that love fades over time in most people because they approach it in the wrong way. The right way is to follow your own individual path in life towards your spiritual destiny, what you feel inside that you must do. When you reach a certain level of satisfaction in this realm, you should automatically give off the vibe, glow, or spirit such that like-minded soulmates will be attracted and come around you, hoping for a union which you should be ready to consummate. Just like life is the spiritual path to find your soul and do something good with it, so too is love the quest to unite with a soulmate equal and culture it for the rest of your life. First you bring yourself up to a worthy vibe, fall in love with a worthy object of desire, then spend the rest of your life being in love with them passionately for the pure essence of the glory of love. You get away from selfishness to share your life for the sake of love. You give of yourself unconditionally and don't expect anything in return. You don't judge your lover and feel threatened by them, that they might have negative intentions towards you to criticize and belittle you. No, true love is a safe feeling that no matter what happens, that person will always be there in your corner to inspire you to live the happiest life you possibly can. You feel good for who you are and feel the love flowing between the two of you naturally and intuitively. When you're bathed in the spirit of love, all is wonderful and good. Everything negative from the past is washed away by this power. Romance is not a transient act you do when you're out on a date looking for a special magical feeling of attraction. It's a permanent state of mind, a state of bliss about your partner and the special union you hold with each other as spiritual beings sharing the same souls. To be loved, be loving and lovable. Your soulmate loves you for being who you are, more specifically someone who understands your soul and loves it because she's like that too, two souls in one as the old saying goes. Love is simply two people sharing their souls with each other freely, purely, and unabashedly. Love is a surrender of your soul to your lover. Follow your spiritual purpose in life as an individual and in love and you will be in harmony with yourself, never be wrong and should feel pretty good most of the time. Surrender to the spirit inside and your life should go smoothly no matter what happens outside of yourself. When you love freely by soul there's no dependency resulting from a weak sense of identity. There's only a deep free-flowing surrender of love between two lovers. There's no fear or insecurity, only love. Love can only be attained if it goes through your soul, not the more tangible reasons like status, money, good looks, trophy wife, potential as good provider, etc. Good sex in the process of love is an expression of surrendering your deepest self freely. You're being selfish and selfless at the same time, giving of yourself while getting pleasure, which is perfectly alright because that's what sex is, two people sharing themselves with each other to get a good feeling for themselves and for each other. The best way to have sex/make love is to let it go wherever it may without any expectations about it. Sex is an expression of the love in your soul, a warm flow of love from your soul into hers, a carefree feeling of playfulness. Great sex is bliss, love, and ecstasy all in one, free loving emotions in the expression of your natural desires. In the end, a great love affair is loving yourself greatly and extending this love onto another person freely and greatly. Love Essays 26. To really love someone is to release them from the expectations we have of them. To get love, be lovable. Love and sex exist on a triad continuum for everybody who have their own standards of sexual and romantic identity. At one end are the monogamous people who believe only in monogamous relationships with one partner for life. Less salient are the serial monogamists who like to be paired off with one after the other. As soon as they break up with one, they look for another exclusive one. At another end of the triad are the asexual people, the celibate ones who think sex is overrated and don't like to engage with other people, some with themselves, others completely celibate like certain monks for religious reasons. The third tier of the triad is the hedonistic, freewheeling people hooked on pleasure who have no morality about sex as long as they get some pleasure with consenting partners. A good idea is to analyze yourself in terms of these three triads and determine exactly who you are in your heart of hearts, then live it out without allowing yourself to be brainwashed and manipulated by the culture you happen to live in. Love is giving up some of your own personal happiness for the happiness of your lover because you believe that together sharing in the spirit of love will make each of you happier than you'd be if you were alone. This is the fantasy, but it's not so clear-cut and simple. Love is so hard in the modern world because everywhere, we get messages about being footloose and fancy-free, living an easygoing life, while the operative word for love is commitment, aka duty, selflessness, and maturity in taking the relationship seriously. Both partners bring something to the table and both partners get something out of the deal. Commitment is scary because it means giving your loyalties and undivided attention to one other person, presumably for life. There are so many uncertainties in life that many people get cold feet and can't go through with it to commit fully, but this is what love is. This is precisely why we have so many common law marriages these days, People are afraid to commit, so they take the easy way, so it will be easy to bail if things don't go your way. Some people rush into marriage because they think it will fulfill them or make them grown up and adult. Others hold back because they don't want the responsibility. There really is no one and only perfect love, which is why, in the pursuit of love, you have to get rid of those fantasies of grandiose love that exist in your dreams and live in the real world. See your lover as a fallible human being with faults and live in the real world of occasional bad luck and disappoints, not that fantasy world of perfect love. Don't necessarily go for the sex spot, glamour queen, or trendsetter, because these people often live the roller coaster of manic depression. They get all glammed up and manic for a while, then they crash. Find somebody temperate and stable who's like you, that you can relate to, not the over-bubbly, over-the-top persona, because it's usually a mask anyway. There should be no power play or hierarchy in the game of love. You should both be equal, treat each other as equals, and try to give equitable effort to making the love work and thrive. If one has the power and abuses it, like the rich, powerful husband who does what he wants, including cheating, this is inequality and love can't work with it in place. There has to be equality only in order for love to be real. Falling in love is often a whirlwind, intense affair, but staying in love means a transition to a smoother, more temperate, relaxed kind of admiration, caring and love. Don't expect the high sparks of the honeymoon to continue throughout. Expect a calmer, more realistic kind of love to sustain you continuously day after day. Falling in love is an affair of the heart. As such, everything will be stripped away, all the externals like money, looks, etc., and all that will matter will be the character of you two as you stand naked facing each other as the naked essences you really are. So if you ain't got a substantial character of love and concern, nothing else will sustain a long-term love affair. Life has lots of bumps like sickness, weakness, money problems, accidents, etc., so this is the real world and you will face adversity. When it happens, that's when love is tested. If you can sustain it through the hard times with patience and optimism, you're doing all right. Sex takes vulnerability. A lot of young people have extremist views about sex, either intensely passionate or guilt-ridden due to a sheltered upbringing. A mature attitude to sex is to not take it too seriously as a slam bam thank you ma all or nothing affair. It's a more temperate, calmer, easygoing event where you're not necessarily concerned with the primal action but more concerned with the loving flow of it all. You have the freedom to play at it, not feel all bound up and repressed about like so many millions of people do. Sex is not necessarily some off in clouds, romantic, sacred thing, it's just two people trying to get their rocks off, so treat it in a casual way sometimes. Don't be bound up by it. Be freer about it. Play it cool. Play it for what it is in the moment. Be playful and relaxed. The most important thing about sex in love is to get beyond yourself to see it as a union of love and pleasure with your partner. One of the hardest things to do is to get out when you know it's bad and hopeless. Many people stay for a wide variety of reasons like fear, a meal ticket, no marketable skill, the real world, for the sake of the kids, etc. This is crazy. Life is too short. If it's bad, get out and start the hunt over again for a love you're compatible, or live free, because it's better to be single and wish you were married than be married and wish you were single. Love Essays 27. She was so natural, that's why I loved her. Love is to love someone without possessing them or getting jealous when others love them. Just like traditional monogamous Christian love is a mix of honoring your lover and engaging them for primal sex just like they engage you, so too is great sex a mixture of getting your rocks off, getting her rocks off, and honoring her at the same time. I read a book dated from 3,000 or so years ago that said please the woman by getting her off through romance and clitoral stimulation somehow before you move in to get yourself off. The one thing that just about every conventional psychobablist in the love game glosses over is physical look. Most of us are reasonably lean and attractive when we're young and fresh, but by 30 a lot of us get worn down by the world somewhat, and by 35 we aren't attractive anymore, some of us downright repulsive, yet nobody seems to want to acknowledge that your primal attraction to the physical look of your partner is paramount in the love and sex game. For men, the physical appeal of the girl is very important, so high I'd say that I would never stay with a once attractive girl who let herself go to the dogs because I would be repulsed by her, and every time I looked at her I'd see human weakness for being so lazy that she let herself go like that, and I have contempt for weak people, and a big sign of weakness or strength is simply the body you carry around. Do you take care of your body and respect it, or are you simply another consumer product brainwashed by your system to work some dull job somewhere, then watch TV and eat junk food for your pleasure such that you end up weak, ghastly, and fat? This is how a lot of men think, so the women's look is everything to them, an expression of the inner spirit. So if you've become one of those middle-aged funky chubs like I see at the supermarket all the time, you don't inspire any passion out of any guy, so why should he give you the time of day? Even your husband, who's only human. Your value to him has a lot to do with looks and sexual fulfillment, but it goes one step further out in public where you represent how good of a hunter he is. So if you're a chubby, ghastly looking woman with roots showing through colored hair in an attempt to look pretty, you're trailer trash, and that's how he feels when he's with you, a trailer trash hillbilly out with his trailer trash wife. Lowered expectations, as they say. You get what you deserve. In order to keep a great loving relationship, men and women alike, you must take of yourself physically to appeal to your lover, then strive to express your vitality by having great sex as much as you can. Great sex bonds the love you feel for each other. Sex is primal and emotional at the same time for a happy couple. You're feeling the great feeling, but also connecting in an intimate, sharing way the deepest feelings you have inside. It's not either or for either man or woman. Both really need a dose of emotional attachment with their sex in order to feel truly good about it. Great relationships are built on two people loving sex together, having it regularly, turning each other on, talking about it, and each being assertive and initiating in their own right. Great sex for both is reaching that fine balance of primal pleasure with comfortable, intimate, cuddling emotional connecting.